Good morning, my friends. Happy Monday, August 25th, 2025, 8:01 Eastern Time. News and weather together on the 8s. If you know, you know. Thank you for being here. We know you have many, many choices to make every single day, and we're always so very, very grateful that you choose to spend some time with us. So thank you very, very much. Thank you for finding us over here in the backup. If you don't follow me here, please do. That's my main. We are crowdfunded. You want to support the channel? Best way to do that is through Cash App, PayPal, Venmo at Factsstillmatter. We do have a gift goal today. There's also a gifting goal. And if you want to subscribe here, that's always appreciated. In the meantime, please consider doing all your daily things, clicking, claiming, all that kind of stuff. The more you complete those tasks, the more we get out to the FYP. And because we're on our backup, oftentimes we struggle to get out to the FYP. So I'd appreciate you guys helping us out there. Quick programming note for tomorrow, and I'll remind folks as we go through the show today. Tomorrow morning we'll start a little later. We'll start at 9. Tomorrow is the first day of school in my family, and it's a big deal in our town. All the seniors kind of arrive together, and all the parents, all the senior parents line the parents of seniors, not senior parents, not yet at least. We line the parking lot. It becomes this big deal. So that'll be tomorrow morning. We'll start a little bit later. We'll start at 9 o'clock. And then we'll talk about some other things we have going on later this week as well. So again, thank you guys for being here. Really, really appreciate you. Don't forget about joining our Discord. You can find the link to that in the link tree that's in my bio. Also, don't forget about factsstillmatter.site, home of our merch. There's a lot of really cool merch items over there, including Girl Dad t-shirts, Traitor to the Patriarchy sweatshirts, Resist shirts, all kinds of great things, including the banana hammock t-shirt, which is backed by popular demand. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you very, 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 very much. All right, today we're gonna dive into a lot to cover. We're going to dive into the transcript and the audio from the interviews that Maxwell did with Todd Blanche. And it's really, it's kind of eye-opening because, first of all, let me say this. We know that if you stroke the ego of Donald Trump, the twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing fraudster, convicted felon, name on a list predator, if you stroke his ego, you will literally get whatever you want. So as we go through the transcript, you'll notice a few moments of deference, we'll say, that Ms. Maxwell paid to Mr. Trump, in fact, calling him a gentleman at one point. Now, of course, that's going to get to his desk, and that will be, obviously an important factor, because if, in my estimation, I think the pardon and or the commutation has already been floated. And the DOJ handed over information to the Oversight Committee on Friday. And the Oversight Committee, the Democrats members of the Oversight Committee are like, we already have like 98% of this information. Where's everything else? So I think it does a couple of things. One, the lie that Pam Bondi said is that there's nothing really to see here. So they were holding on to all this information. They claimed that there was nothing that was to be released. So then part of the narrative is like, well, we already handed over everything that we had. Well, you didn't hand over everything you had. You obviously didn't. Sean, you do have TDS. You should get help with that. It's called The Truth. Good luck with that. Anyway, there's this navigating this is going to be really, really interesting. So I'm going to do my best to kind of navigate through some of the language specifically as it relates to the transcript and the interview. We'll do our best. I want to first kind of back up a little bit and talk a little bit more about the National Guard and what the government under the Trump administration is doing and using, but based on lies. So the new narrative that I've been hearing in right-wing circles, thank you very much. The new narrative that I've been hearing in right-wing circles is that this was never part of the plan, that the Trump administration is only responding to what they see as spikes in crime. And they've identified DC, and they've identified LA, obviously, and now Chicago, and now Boston, right? So there's already reports and talk, and it's already happening in some cases where there's national ground and ultimately the U.S. military on the ground in the streets of these cities. The problem with that argument, as we all know, they're not even some of the highest. They're not even some of the highest crime rates. Cities that have the highest. There's cities in our country that have higher crime rates, including Memphis, including Little Rock, including St. Louis, Birmingham. All those cities have higher crime rates than DC. So you guys know, because you're the smartest chat on TikTok, that this is just an attempt to flex you know, the precursor to martial law? I don't know. It's just, it's the language used to attempt to justify it is bullshit. And where I really found it interesting is they're saying, well, this is new. We're only doing this in response to what we see are escalating crime rates. It's a bold-faced fucking lie. There's no other way to describe it, because if it was truly about crime, then you would be addressing the cities that have higher rates of crime, including homicide, including petty crime, including armed robbery. All those things score higher in cities like Little Rock, Memphis, Detroit would be one, St. Louis, Missouri, Birmingham, Alabama. They all have higher rates of crime. Okay, you can find that. That's on Politico. You can find that information. You can look at FBI statistics as well. So I say that to you because we have the receipts. When we talked about this leading up to the election, we talked about these are the kinds of things that were going to happen. And then I think it's really important that we remind everyone that Kamala Harris had it exactly right as we were marching towards the election. Kamala Harris had it exactly right. Here's the sound from that. Madam VP, take it away.
Donald Trump intends to use the United States military against American citizens who simply disagree with him. People he calls, quote, the enemy from within. America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
So there's that, right? So we know about the enemy from within, quote. So my point is that that was the suggestion, thought at that particular time. You know, couldn't see the future, but there was all kinds of signs telling us that this was going to happen, including some of the words that came right out of the president's mouth, right? And then there was this famous interview.
58 grand.
Sorry, there was this famous interview that that Trump did with Fox News, and then again on other stations, and then Mike Johnson, who went on with Jake Tapper to talk about that interview that Kamala Harris did, right? That press conference. And this is just, I think this is the whole ball game right here, because again, what I'm explaining to you is the argument that the right is making now in the safe spaces, in the support structure, you know, the cushy pillow for Trump, is that no, this was never part of the plan. We are only doing this to respond to violent crime, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we know it's all fucking bullshit. Okay, we know it's all bullshit. So this is Mike Johnson being interviewed with Jake Tapper, and Jake Tapper does a really good job of calling him out by just playing the receipts. Here you go.
In multiple interviews this week, Donald Trump repeatedly referred to prominent Democrats and others on the left in the United States, American citizens, as, quote, the enemy from within, unquote. And he suggested as president he would want to use the National Guard or military against them. Let me play some of that for our viewers.
The bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
One of the first things you did when you joined Congress was to create the Honor and Civility Caucus. Does wanting to use the military against political opponents, would that pass muster with the Civility Caucus?
That's not.
Wait for this answer.
Jake, you know that's not what he's talking about. What he's talking about is marauding gangs of dangerous, violent people who are destroying public property.
He talked about Adam
and
Schiff
threatening
and
other American
He's
citizens.
not talking. I mean, Governor Youngkin tried this with me too. That's not, he was very clear. Let me play, because he was asked about this later on, because Fox always likes to give Donald Trump an opportunity to clean it up. And he always says, no, I said what I meant. Here's what he said when asked about it the next day.
It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists, and they're sick. I use a guy like Adam Schiff because they made up the Russia hoax. It took 2 years to solve the problem. Absolutely nothing was done wrong, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
They're dangerous for our country. We have China, we have Russia, we have all these countries. If you have a smart president, they can all be handled. The more difficult are, the Pelosi's, these people, they're so sick and they're so evil.
That's what he's talking about, using the U.S. military against, not marauding gangs of Venezuelan.
Wait a minute.
Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul. So let me just say, if a Democratic presidential candidate said that you and your wife were evil and that the military should be used against you, I would say that's disgusting.
Well, thank you. And some have said that about us because they don't like my politics. I did not hear President Trump in that clip say he's going to sic the military on Adam Schiff. That's not what he's saying. You've got two different clips in two different contexts. What President Trump is talking about is that they have been attacking and maligning him from the day he came down that golden escalator. Everybody knows that's true.
Poor baby. So, Mike, you're absolutely wrong about that, because I will play for you the interviews I will play for you the context of the interviews that he just said. So he wants to claim that they've been clipped. Well, these are the interviews. This was the first point. Again, the statement that Trump made was about Marxist, communist, fascists. He doesn't know what any of them are. Okay, we know exactly what he meant by the enemy from within because he told us. Okay, so Mike Johnson, again, this was 3 days before the interview that you heard with Jay Tapper with Mike Johnson was 3 days before the debate between himself and Kamala Harris, right? Again, using his own words. So here you go. This is the sound from the first interview.
I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
Again, who's the threat? Who's the threat? Hey, Bill Gregory, why don't you request and tell me what I've done wrong? I bet you won't.
Well, I always say, so we have two enemies. We have the outside enemy, and then we have the enemy from within. And the enemy from within, in my opinion, is more dangerous than China, Russia, and all these countries, because if you have a smart president, he can handle them pretty easily. I got along great with all of them. I handled them.
I handled them. You handled them. Cool.
But the thing that's tougher to handle are these lunatics that we have inside.
The lunatics that we have inside, right? So the enemy from within, which is exactly what he's talking about, correct? Yeah, the enemy from within. We know that. So then this is the follow-up, because he went back to Fox, to his safe space again, and then this is the follow-up.
Kamala Harris has said you sounded unhinged, and unchecked power is in our future. What do you say about that?
I thought it was a nice presentation. I wasn't unhinged. You know what they are? They're a party of sound bites. Somebody asked me, can they be brought together? I never thought, really, I wasn't thinking like they could, because they're very, very different. And it is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists, and they're sick. I use a guy like Adam Schiff because they made up the Russia hoax. It took 2 years to solve the problem. Absolutely nothing was done wrong, et cetera, et cetera. They're dangerous for our country. We have China, we have Russia, we have all these countries. If you have a smart president, they can all be handled. The more difficult are, the Pelosi's, these people, they're so sick and they're so evil. If they would spend their time trying to make America great again, it would be so easy to make this country great. But when I heard about that, they were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone.
Okay, cool. So then just as a reminder, this is what Mike Johnson had to say when asked that same question again.
Want to change, and that's what they see in Donald Trump. So he has fun at the pick of a few words or lines out of it. We all know that. These are the facts. The American people see it, and the media can pick it apart, but people are going to vote. They're going to vote what's best for their family.
Just remember what you just heard what Donald Trump said.
In multiple interviews this week, Donald Trump repeatedly referred to prominent Democrats and others on the left in the United States.
You heard the names that you mentioned: Adam Schiff, Pelosi, etc. The usual script that he likes to go through. Okay, you heard that.
States, American citizens, as, quote, the enemy from within, unquote. And he suggested, as president, he would want to use the National Guard or military against them. Let me play some of that for our viewers.
The bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
One of the first things you did when you joined Congress was to create the Honor and Civility Caucus. Does wanting to use the military against political opponents, would that pass muster with the Civility Caucus?
That's not... Jake, you know that's not what he's talking about.
Oh.
What he's talking about is marauding gangs of dangerous,
Nope.
violent people who are
Nope.
destroying public property.
Nope. He talked about Adam
and
Schiff and
threatening
Pelosi.
other American
He's
citizens.
not talking. I mean, Governor Youngkin tried this with me too.
Yep.
That's not, he was very clear.
Busted,
let me
Mike.
play, because he was asked about this
You're
later
busted.
on, because Fox always likes to give Donald Trump an opportunity to clean it up.
Keep tapping, friends.
And he always says, no, I said what I meant. Here's what he said when asked about it the next day.
It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists.
You get the point. So the argument now that they're attempting to, you know, again, I'm so fucking tired of the fucking gaslighting. This shit is not normal. It's not normal. Even if Mike Johnson had any truth into what he said, you know, the good Christian man, you know, the servant of God, as he likes to call himself, the good Christian man who would never tell a lie, right? Of course not. Even if what he said had any truth to it, that are using because of cracking down on crime, what they are doing completely contradicts any of that, especially when they are now saying that the only reason we are doing this now, we never had any preconceived notions. There was no plan to do this. We are only responding to the crime in the street, even though a few months ago, Donald Trump bragged about how the crime in DC was down by 25%. So it's like, you know, I'm just so fucking done with the gaslight. It's just ridiculous. And it's so easy to see, which is why, as independent journalists, we're going to continue to cover this shit. Because the legacy media does not put the pieces together like this, in my opinion, right? So it's ridiculous. We know what he's doing. How ironic is he's picking out cities and states and governors and elected members of Congress who he doesn't like. He doesn't like them. He doesn't like Chicago. He doesn't like Illinois. He doesn't like Westmore. In Maryland, because Westmore said, Mr. President, you really think the crime's so bad? Why don't you come to Baltimore? We'll walk around the streets. And of course, Trump got all up in his shit. Couldn't do that because that would put him on blast. And then Mike Johnson out there saying, oh, no. He's talking about marauding gangs. And Jeanine Pirro's talking about, you know, the skateboard thugs, the skateboard posse. I mean, give me a break. So it's great to be able to have the receipts and to dunk on that shit, because that is like ridiculous. I mean, we all know what it is. It's got nothing to do with crime. It's got absolutely nothing to do with crime. And we know that because the video we've seen from DC is the National Guard sitting around at Starbucks having coffee in their uniform. Okay? I mean, it's just a joke. It's just a flex because he's got a tiny dick and he doesn't know what the fuck to do. And it proves to me this is on the surface. When you have to do things like this, it just shows everyone that you have no policy. If you are truly concerned about crime, then you would introduce ways to solve the problem. It's like putting plaster or putting paint over a hole in your sheetrock. The root cause, one of the main driving causes of crime, especially petty crime, is poverty. Nowhere do you see in any Republican legislation either from state or the federal government who wants to address it. No. We're gonna use rhetoric. There's a video that they were circulating that got taken down, and even in the video it said AI generated. It was mounds and mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains of trash. And I looked at the comments before they took it down. I looked at the comments, and there were so many people. See how disgusting DC is? And it was fake. It was auto-generated, AI generated, even on the caption. So I say that because now that the White House has a TikTok account, obviously TikTok is no longer a threat to national security, apparently. I put a lot of comments. I probably commented over 100 times on the White House TikTok page, and I can't find any one of those comments. They're all gone. So some people are claiming, they're going to use it to target people. Bring it on. I don't give a shit. Mr. Trump, J.D. Vance, Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, other elected members of the cabinet. I'm Steve, Facts, live Monday through Friday, 8 till noon. Fuck you. Have a good day. It's the ultimate gaslight, and I'm so tired of it. And the problem is because, well, the problem is it's multifaceted. When you are now wanting to punish journalists, when you want to deny licenses, when you want to make the claim that everything is fake unless I tell you, they're literally on the record saying that the media is lying to you about crime, and then they'll show pictures, AI-generated pictures in some case, or sound bites or snapshots of something claiming that the cities are overrun. I've been to DC multiple times. There's houselessness problems in every large city because that's what you get. But to tell the American public that you're justified in bringing in the National Guard and the military, now DC's different. I understand there's federal control there. I get it. But to justify going to Chicago, to justify going to Boston, you want to, listen, for people who don't know, you fuck with New England, it doesn't end well. I'm telling you right now. With the exception of New Hampshire, because as we've talked about, New Hampshire is New Hampshire. But and by the way, Caroline Leavitt is from New Hampshire. I rest my case. You want to bring it? Mayor Wu in Boston's like, bring it. Fine. You really want to go there? Remember where our country started. It started in New England. So good luck with that. I am just so disgusted by the continued gaslight. So we'll continue to watch that. We'll continue to call truth to power. We'll do it here, right? So again, friends, if you wouldn't mind, just keep tapping and sharing. I appreciate y'all very much. So that's just an interesting, I think, just really, Kamala Harris nailed it. And then I saw some simp in the comments saying, Joe Biden called Republicans domestic terrorists. Joe Biden was fucking right. You may not like it, but if the president of the United States currently goes out there and lies to the American public about Democrats being the enemies of the state, when we have examples of domestic terrorism coming from the right, including January 6th, and by the way, a riotous traitor fuck who was part of J6, who talked about unaliving the police, calling them, excuse me, the Gestapo, that person is now in the Department of Justice. So yeah, they are domestic terrorists. They are. You don't like it? I don't give a shit. Remember, the overall goal, and I'm going to play you guys a prime example of Russian propaganda. Part of that is to destabilize. And don't forget, they want us fighting this way, and we should be fighting this way. I was listening to a live this morning early, didn't sleep, and I was just kind of trying to, the host was great, he's trying to have conversations, and he was just so frustrated because just so many people creating these lies about, they use California. California's the target now because Gavin Newsom is on everybody's radar on the right. Trying to create this scenario that California is the reason that they're the fourth largest economy is because they're corrupt. They're lying about the numbers. They don't pay taxes. They don't pay taxes to the federal government. And then the host said, well, what about Texas? Do they pay taxes to the federal government? Do you know what the response was? Well, that's different. So we are in the upside down. We are completely in the upside down. Okay. Part two of this whole misinformation gaslighting campaign that I'm tired about is the nonsense connected to the relationship that Donald Trump has with Russia. Now, I don't know if you guys heard this, but this is fucking wild. I'm going to show this picture first because the American president standing in the Oval Office with that picture under the backdrop of this soundbite.
I was just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But I'm going to sign this for him. But
he's been great for our country, respectful of me. Did you catch that? Respectful of me. Respectful of me. He loves me. He loves me. The American president with a hat on his head that says Trump was right about everything, by the way. The American president standing in the Oval Office showing a picture with a war criminal right there, a fucking war criminal, and Trump is sucking the D. Here you go.
And I was just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But I'm going to sign this for him. But I was sent one, and I thought you would like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming, and he.
I'm sorry. What did you say? You said he may be coming?
I'm going to come.
What? You guys are going to have some fun together then. Putin's going to be coming?
I'm going to come.
Oh, my God. You guys are going to have a hell of a time. Obviously, you'll have a lot of, imagery that you can use. But I know, MAGA, I know it's difficult. I understand. And this is a plea, okay? This is a plea right now. The plea is such that the American president standing in the Oval Office bragging about having a picture of the war criminal, that guy who dog walked him in Alaska, who is dog walking him as of just over the weekend, because the threats that this guy makes are not threats because he won't follow through. The Russian military boomed an American company in Ukraine. We're going to talk about it in a minute because I'm going to give you a prime example of Russian propaganda. A prime example. Got a request. Let me bring up, I see Melly. Good morning, Melly. Hello? Might have just been a tap. All right, one more, and then we'll get back to our story. It's embarrassing. I mean, come on. Is he daddy? He must be daddy. Hi, Hannah. Hannah? I guess not. I guess not. Okay. Anyway, so are there any, because I know that the patriots on the right are fake and phony, but are you willing to, let's flip this around. If that was the black man in the tan suit and he was doing that, you guys would be losing your fucking shit. Look at that picture. Again, first of all, he looks awful. Look at that picture. Here's the sound again.
We may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. So, but I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay?
How pathetic is that? It is so embarrassing. Do you guys not get it? You genuinely believe that Russia is our friend? You genuinely believe that that Vladimir Putin respects Trump and is afraid of him? I've got some really funny, this was, see if I can find it real quick. I might have not saved it. Maybe I did. But there was a panelist on with Bill Maher, and he called it out really, really well. I thought it was hilarious. I think I have it here. Just give me a second to try to find. Here you go. This is great because this is the whole ball game right here. This guy nails it. I don't even know this dude's name, but I'll try to credit him in just a second. Here you go.
Discovered that Putin is not actually Trump's bitch.
No.
And
he's the guy who stole a Super Bowl ring off a guy's finger.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he was like, I thought he was my guy. Right. I thought like we're in this working together and we're going to hang at Mar-a-Lago. And Putin's like, no, I want to reconstitute the Russian Empire. And it pissed Trump off. And so now he's like, I don't want anything to do with this because I'm not getting my Nobel Peace Prize. I think Trump was legitimately angry and pissed off at Putin. I do. Trump lives in this world where he's surrounded by these sycophants and yes men, sort of head past the sphincter ass kissers who tell him he's the greatest, smartest guy in the world. And he has this transactional relationship with him. You know, it's like that old dictator phrase, for my friends, anything, for my enemies, the law, right? And he's being really retributionist and that kind of thing with the law, going after his enemies. And they came into office and made concession after concession after concession to Putin without asking for anything in return.
There you go. I mean, like we always talk about, what's the number one way to crack into or to get a narcissist on your side? It's to stroke their ego. Remember what Vladimir Putin's background is. Disinformation, propaganda, cultivation, knows how to work people, mind games. It's an absolute disaster. And then you have the American president in the Oval Office bragging about a picture of Vladimir Putin. I'm going to sign it. I'm going to put little hearts on it. I'm going to write what Donald Putin, like his last name. Imagine if we got married and then I could be Donald Putin or Vladimir Trump or a combination. We'll hyphenate the last name, Donald Trump Putin. It's a fucking joke. It is absolutely pathetically embarrassing. And then Trump.
I'm going to come.
So, I mean, he's going to be busy. Obviously, apparently when Vlad shows up, they were talking about the Olympics or the World Cup. I forget which one. It's a joke. It's embarrassing. Okay. And then that leads us to the next. I'm going to play for you guys the example of Russian propaganda. Somebody's requested. Let me just see if I have forgotten. Okay. I'll bring up Randy. Good morning, Randy. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
I can barely hear you, Randy.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, what's on my mind is sorry. I hope that you'll be able to understand. Because I'm Haitian, so for the language might be a little bit hard for you to understand. This
No
is
problem. I got you.
from what I'm watching from the time that me being in America. First of all, I feel sorry for the democracy that we're losing this, and second, you can look at him. His best friend is Putin and Kim for North Korea, because what is in mind, he's trying to hold the power forever, try to turn America just like Russia. That's what he's doing.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, he idolized. I would not say that he thinks he's friends with Putin and he thinks he's friends with Kim Jong Un. They don't. They mock him. They think he's an embarrassment, and because of that, he's basically willing to give them whatever they want. And yeah, he does want. I think we have enough information now that he wants to rule the way in which they do. He doesn't want to govern. He wants to rule. There's a difference.
Yes, that's all they want to do. And they will never trust him. They're not his friend, but he pretend to be their friend because he wants them to teach him, to show him how they hold like Putin from 20 years in the past, how he hold the power and become a dictator. That's what he got on his mind, to become a dictator. That's why you see for Trump, anything else the left do, it's a wrong thing. Donald Trump is looking for everything that he do, he's right. There's no justice for him. Anybody else, like look at Gavin Newsom, he's doing the same thing taxes do. So he's a wrong person. But taxes done it, that's fine. That's fine. Because you know what I'm saying? Anything that my guy do, that's fine. So that's exactly what I'm saying. But I feel sorry. America now becoming a place like really, to me it's like we're losing our value to be for the democracy, which is an example of the world. So I don't reading now. What we are what lesson that we're teaching out now to people.
I don't disagree, Randy. I don't disagree. I think you absolutely nailed it. I appreciate you jumping in today, friend. Thanks for being here. We're fighting together, so please be here. I just followed you, Randy. I appreciate you being here, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good day. He's right. Right? He's right. Let's see. Got Charlie. Everybody keep tapping, and we'll get back to the Russian propaganda. I want to play it for you. Good morning, Charlie. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
I think it's I think you're being a little bit deceptive in saying that like Putin is dog walking Trump and that there's just like concession after concession.
Really?
Given that,
can I give you some examples as to why I believe what I said is actually factually true?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so every single month since Trump took over, and I want you to listen. I just want you to listen to what I'm explaining to you, and then we can discuss it. Every single month since he was inaugurated, he has threatened Russia with sanctions. Has he ever imposed one?
Not directly on Russia, but economic sanctions are being
again, Russia. I'm talking about Russia. He's threatened Russia with sanctions. Has he ever imposed one?
No.
Did he or did he not say he was going to end the war in 24 hours?
Yes.
What did he ask Russia to give up in regards to settling the war in Ukraine?
He asked Russia to give up what they had already taken.
No, he did not. He absolutely did not. Part of the deal was that Russia was going to be able to keep the territory that they, in some people's mind, they say earned. They had this summit and they had this summit in Alaska. Do you think it was a respectable moment for an American president to be clapping for a war criminal?
I think you were kind of touching on it, but I mean, obviously, Putin
Can you answer my question? Do you think it's appropriate for an American president to be applauding for a war criminal?
I don't think it matters.
You don't see you're part of the problem then, Charlie. Because you don't think it matters doesn't mean it doesn't. Now, again, do you think it's appropriate for an American president to be on American soil asking U.S. service members to tack down the red carpet for a war criminal? Do you think that's okay?
I think if it means that we're getting closer to a peace deal, which I think we are, then yes.
Are we really? Are we getting closer to a peace deal? What happened over the weekend? What happened over the weekend, Charlie?
Yeah, so the AP reports that during the summit in Alaska.
What happened over the weekend, Charlie? What happened over the weekend? This past
Can I get a
weekend?
sentence out?
No, what happened over the weekend, Charlie?
What do you mean? Can you be more
What
specific?
happened over the weekend?
So let's see what happened over this weekend. Trump talked about dissuading India off of Russian oil through higher tariffs.
Again, once again, we're talking about
happened last weekend. Yeah, that did happen last weekend.
Charlie, what happened over
doesn't mean it's not the right answer.
Charlie, what happened over this past weekend?
You have to be more specific.
Did Russia boom an American company in Ukraine? Yes or no?
Is it an American company? It has American ties.
Yes.
What company was it?
Again, are you not aware of that?
What company was it?
Are you not aware of that, Charlie?
I read something about it, but I never read what company.
So every single time Trump promises to impose these, I'm going to give him 10 days, I'm going to give him 30 days, I'm going to move back to 10 days. Every single time Trump has rattled the saber, he's never followed through. Ever. Why, again, what would be the quickest way for the war in Ukraine to end, Charlie? What would be the quickest way for it to end?
Giving up the entirety of Ukraine and not doing any security guarantees. That would be the quickest.
No,
I mean, I'm being honest.
that would be that, and who would win? That would be deferring to Russia.
Well,
the quickest way for the quickest way for the war to end would be for the invading army, which was Russia, to leave, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how come Donald Trump has never said that?
But that's just not, he recognizes that that's just not what's going to happen.
That's not the question. Answer the question, Charlie. Answer the question. Why has Donald Trump not ever said that? Every single time they talk about it, it's like, okay, these are the concessions that Ukraine has to make. How come there's never been concessions that Russia has to make?
There have been concessions that Russia has to take.
What are they?
So you cut me off, but the AP reported just a week ago after the Alaska summit that Putin was open to NATO Article 5 security guarantees. That would be a concession.
No, that's not a concession. That's not a concession.
Yes,
Charlie,
it is.
that's not no, it's not until there's an actual peace deal. Why has Donald?
That means we haven't made any concessions either. Because there's been no peace deal.
Charlie, listen. My God, you are being absolutely riddled with propaganda and disinformation. I'm going to try to help you. Okay?
How do you know? I haven't been able to get a single sentence out.
Because I know you. I know people like you. Okay? Once again, the expectation. What has Donald Trump asked of President Zelensky?
What has Donald Trump asked of President Zelensky? Well, a couple of things. First, that he actually wears a suit to the White House. We got that. We got that under control.
That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. That's stupid. That's just dumb. Don't you sound smarter than that. Don't be stupid. Move on to the conversation. Let's be serious. What has Donald Trump asked of President Zelensky?
That he come to the table in trying to reach a peace deal.
Okay. Again, what has he asked though? He's asked for concessions from Ukraine. What would those concessions be?
That there's a possibility that they might have to give up, but has already been taken over.
Why would they have to give that up? It's their territory.
Because they lost it in war.
What have they asked? No, again, they lost it in war. So if Mexico invaded the United States and they took over half of Texas, would the United States have to give up half of Texas?
I think that I think it's not applicable. You're comparing apples to oranges because that just
it's applicable, Charlie. You just don't like it.
No,
you don't like it. You've not been able to tell me yet.
Russia is so disproportionately bigger than Ukraine, and Mexico is.
So what? So what? Why does that matter? And by the way, it's perfectly applicable. Again, Charlie, please listen. What concessions has Donald Trump asked Russia to give up in regard to Ukraine specifically?
The concession. Oh my God.
Don't pivot to India. Don't pivot to India. We're talking about Ukraine. What's the concession?
I would call these security guarantees a concession because it would require there to be foreign countries and foreign countries' aid, materials, and weaponry on the ground in Ukraine, and Ukraine would have to guarantee that they will not destroy it. That is a concession.
On the ground in Ukraine, on the territory that Russia stole illegally.
Not necessarily.
So again, what do you mean not necessarily? Did they not invade?
No. I'm saying that's not necessarily where the security guarantees have to be.
Where would they be, Charlie?
In Ukraine, around Ukraine, and other countries around Ukraine and Russia.
Okay, fine. But again, what is Putin asked to give? Do you know what a concession is?
Yes, I understand what a concession is.
What's a concession?
A concession would be something you give up in pursuit of
Okay,
peace.
so what is Russia giving up? So Ukraine has been told they have to give up. Once again, they have to give up. So as it's come from the State Department, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, the U.S. ambassador to NATO have all said to settle the war, Ukraine's going to have to give up something. And the expectation is they're going to give up the Donbass, which is roughly 20% of Ukraine. What's significant about the Donbass region, Charlie? Do you know?
That it's like historically been contentious for Russia.
No, it's not. It's a mineral grab. I mean, that's where the resources are. That is the engine of Ukraine, the Donbass. It also gives Putin easier access to Crimea, which then gives them access to the Black Sea. So why would Ukraine have to give up any of their territory that Russia stole and invaded? I guess I'm asking you, why has there not been a similar demand? If you want the war to end, Vlad, I need you to leave. Then we can talk about what security guarantees would look like. We can talk about the future of NATO. But until then, no, that's what Joe Biden did. Said, I'm going to sanction your ass. You're going to get the hell out. We're not going to talk about anything until you leave. I'm asking you, what has the Trump administration said to Russia that they would be forced to give up, to concede? The answer is nothing.
I guess I have a question for you.
Well, the answer is nothing, Charlie. Charlie, the answer is nothing. They've not asked them to concede anything.
Okay, but do you seriously think, and please be
acknowledge that, Charlie. Acknowledge that
we've asked no concessions of Russia?
Again, Russia has not been asked. They've not been asked to give up anything, Charlie. They've not been asked to give up anything. Any security guarantees from Russia's perspective would be in Ukraine, Charlie.
They've
Do you
been
understand?
asked to give up their invasion of Ukraine.
No, they've not.
They haven't.
They have
Russia
not.
Has not called for the end of the war, is what you're saying.
No, not calling for the end of the war, Charlie. I'm talking about the quickest way for the war to end would be for Russia to leave. How come the Trump administration has never said that?
Because they know that that's not what Vladimir Putin is ever going to do.
Okay, well, again, that's not diplomacy.
Can I ask you a question?
Is that diplomacy, though, Charlie? That's why I was saying about how when you said I was being misquoting or being disingenuous, I was telling you at every single turn, Donald Trump pays deference to Vladimir Putin, the American president. So the American president, Charlie, I'm going to show you this picture. The American president standing in the Oval Office, bragging about a picture with Vladimir Putin. Are you okay with that, Charlie?
Yeah.
You don't get it, man.
That's diplomacy.
That's not diplomacy, my friend. That is not diplomacy.
What about
diplomacy? Diplomacy would be Russia, get the fuck out, and then we can have a conversation.
Okay.
I'm really sorry, Charlie, but I'm really sorry. You've been propagandized, friend. You really have been propagandized. Can I
ask you a question?
Sure.
Please be academically genuine here. Do you think
when you can start to be academically, I will be, but let me know when you're ready to do that too. Okay.
All right. I have been, but that's okay.
No, you haven't.
Just go to the question.
No, you haven't.
Okay. Do you think Vladimir Putin would ever consider giving up the land that he has already taken of Ukraine? If Trump asked to just get the hell out, would he do it?
Again, that's not the point, is it, Charlie?
Can you answer the question?
I am. That's not the point. He stole that land. He invaded. Why should any country have to give up anything? Why should they? You said you didn't like the argument I made, but again, would you be okay if Mexico or China or any other country invaded the United States, took half of a state, and then said, well, that's okay, they can keep it? Would you be okay with that?
If this war has been going on,
Charlie, would you be okay with that, Charlie? Would you be okay with that? A foreign invader. You would consider a foreign invader taking a chunk of land in our country, you would consider letting them have it.
If it meant the unaliving stopped, yes, I would consider letting you have it.
Get the fuck out. You don't fucking get it. You're a traitor. Good luck with that. Wow. Unreal. High Pockets, how are you today? Hello? High Pockets?
Oh, I'm sorry.
There? No problem. No problem.
Hi.
Mimi, how are you today? Hi there.
I'm good. Thank you for doing this. I'm Ukrainian. I was like sick to my stomach listening to this guy, and I just want to point one thing what he said. But this security guarantees that the American companies will be in Ukraine. So I have bad news. Ukraine is not banana republic, never been, and we had already American company. And what happened right after Alaska, this diplomacy BS, Putin attacked a specifically American company in Ukraine.
Exactly.
So it's exactly great example what Putin doesn't give a damn about. And this diplomacy to kiss and put ass. Sorry, it's not diplomacy. It's
not at all. I mean,
yes.
I don't. Do you live in the U.S., Mimi?
Yes.
So I would imagine you were highly offended by that picture.
Like I sick to my stomach, honestly. Like I cannot anymore. I was really viral.
I'll take it off so you don't have to see it anymore.
No, it's just like it's embarrassment for us Ukrainians. It's not, we don't take it personally anymore because we know it's not, we know nothing expect from Trump. It's a Putin puppet. It's just like for me right now is living in America and love America so much. And it's so much painful to watch. It's about America. It's embarrassment for America. And what he done to America, how he put on the knee those military in front of Putin. And he said diplomacy, and also in my profile I have video how many countries Russia attack. It's a Chechnya, it's Abkhazia in Georgia, it's Moldavia, it's like every neighbor. And this strategy, what he asking like, but let's make diplomacy, give little bit more land to Putin. We tried it. We already gave him Crimea. We already gave them Donbass, pretending that okay, let's give him something and he will stop. It didn't work. This strategy.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's just like I'm so pissed. Every time I listen to this Russian propagandist in United States who destroyed United States from United States, you are American traitor. You want America fall because you spreading Russian propaganda. And Russia, let me remind you, it's your enemy.
Was I wrong about my claim that the Donbass is like the economic engine of Ukraine?
Yes. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And also claim what Putin asked to concede from Ukraine to give up a land which Russia didn't occupy yet. So Putin wants more land, not not controlling right now. So he is completely delusional psychopath. He's demands, and also about security guarantees and all this diplomacy. How did it work? What is result? What is result of your diplomacy? So you suck, you fall here, like you loser here. Your Trump is loser. Diplomacy doesn't work. Your kissing ass doesn't work. So Putin never ever, for all these 3 years, never ever lower his expectations. He just increasing it. After every meeting with Trump, he increasing expectation. Congratulations of your diplomacy. And
Agreed.
You call it success.
I could not have said it better, Mimi. Thank you so much for being here. I guess one more question I have. You probably know this. There has been, I want to say the number is over 10 times that there's been a promise of a ceasefire going back to Crimea, because there's been all these little skirmishes since then, and there's been at least a dozen times where there was a ceasefire,
25 times.
verbal. How many?
25, like when Zelensky was in Oval Office first time in that embarrassment, he tried to tell Trump that listen, We did already 25 times. And that's why Macron is so right now also supporting Ukraine, because he was involved in one of that. And Zelensky was also so naive when he just came in the office, and he was so naive as well, believing that his agreement with Putin will work. And this Minsk agreement, what Zelensky signed, and Ukrainians was shocked, and then back in 2019, I don't remember. So every Ukrainian was like, oh my God, what are you doing? You cannot trust Putin. And Zelensky believed at that time that he can he can work with diplomacy and agreement work with Russia. And it's false. That's how right now entire world sees it. It's not diplomacy work. Look what Russia did to many countries. It's not just Ukraine. Every neighbor is suffering. And you're talking about diplomacy. So
I agree.
Doesn't work.
Well, I appreciate your perspective on that. I think to your point, at least Zelensky tried, but I think we've proven it now, and how far our country has fallen. But Mimi, thank you for jumping in today. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you for your support. Thank you.
You got it. You got it. See you later. I want to remind folks what we just witnessed here. Charlie, who is MAGA, who has been brainwashed and indoctrinated into the cult, would have been okay if an invading army took a portion of the U.S. He would give it up. That part to me was just mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. This is what happens when you become propagandized. So the company was, let's see, Russia, Texas-based electronics firm was a regular civilian business, an American electronics manufacturer in Western Ukraine. The company's name is, let's see, Flex Ltd. The enterprise belonged to U.S. listed company Flex Ltd. So on that topic, I'm going to talk to you about how I'm going to give you a perfect example of Russian propaganda. Okay? This is a perfect example. So Sergei Lavrov, who most people know, he is the former Russian foreign minister, or still is a Russian foreign minister. I'm not exactly sure his title. Okay, got a violation. Of course we did. All right. We're going to do our best here. Everybody tap like crazy, please. F1 in the chat. Let me play the PSA real quick. Hold on.
TikTok. It is our intention during these live broadcasts to only provide fact-based information to the absolute best of our ability. We strive to never spread misinformation or to platform those that do. Opinions of our guest or commenters are theirs and theirs alone and do not reflect those of the host. Hate speech is not allowed, and we are diligent about policing it. This platform is for educational purposes only. We now return you to our regularly scheduled pandemonium, already in progress.
Okay, we love the TikTok shop. Okay, I'm going to play some sound because, again, we've over the weekend, there were literally just within, obviously this had been planned, right? An American company, Flex Ltd, with operations in Ukraine, it's an electronics manufacturer, okay, attacked by the Russian military. All right, and this is Sergei Lavrov, who's just maniacal and diabolical. This is what he had to say about said attack.
Just this week, Russia bombed an American-owned factory near the Hungarian border. I've spoken to people who frankly see that as a slap in the face to President Trump, to the entire peace process, isn't it?
Well, I would say that those who are sincerely interested in understanding what is going on should know by now that never ever Russia deliberately targeted any sites which are not linked to military abilities of Ukraine.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there for 1 second. The statement he just made is that never, ever, ever has the Russian military ever targeted anything other than military and infrastructure. Really. Persistent attacks on the population centers. Reports from organizations like the UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine and Human Rights Watch show that Russia has carried out numerous indiscriminate and disproportionate attacks in populated areas, including in Kyiv, Kharkiv, and other cities. Since the start of the invasion, the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has documented of tens of thousands of civilian casualties, though the actual number is believed to be significantly higher. The UN has noted that the majority of casualties were caused by explosive weapons with wide area effects used by Russian forces in populated areas. Russia has systematically targeted Ukraine's energy infrastructure, including thermal power plants, electricity substations, and the power grid. These attacks have caused widespread blackouts, leaving millions of Ukrainians without electricity, heating, and water during the winter. Use of precise guided weapons on civilian targets. Despite claiming to only strike military targets, Russian forces have used both less accurate glide bombs and more precise camera-equipped drones to hit civilian buildings. As of May 2025, a Human Rights Watchdog report documented multiple incidences. Mariupol Drama Theater, an airstrike destroyed the theater, which was sheltering hundreds of civilians. Estimates of civilian fatalities vary widely, with an Associated Press investigation suggesting the number could be as high as 600. There are dozens of these examples. Again, Russian propaganda. Let me go back to what he said, just said about that.
Targeted any sites which are not by now, that never ever Russia deliberately targeted any sites which are not linked to military abilities of Ukraine.
That is Russian propaganda. Obviously, it is absolutely not true. It is part of the game. People like Charlie susceptible to it and attempting to create a narrative that they were justified. Russia's only doing what Ukraine's doing, and then it gets worse, because I'm going to dunk on him again in just a moment.
There's an electronics factory, though, sir. This is an electronics factory. I've spoken to people on the ground there. It builds coffee machines, among other electronics. This is not a military site.
Well, I understand that some people are really naive, and when they see a coffee machine in the window, they believe that this is the place where coffee machines are produced. Our intelligence has very good information.
Really?
And we target only, as I said, either military enterprises, military sites, or industrial enterprises directly involved.
Okay, really? So what was that again? Let's see. The Kremenchuk shopping mall, June of 2022. An attack hit a crowded shopping mall, unaliving dozens of civilians. Dnipro apartment building, January 2023. A Russian KH-22 boom boom struck a 9-story residential building, unaliving 46 people. The Harazra Cafe and Store, October 2023. A missile strike on a cafe and a store, unalived at least 51 people. Children's Hospital in Kyiv, a Russian cruise boom boom destroyed the main hospital for critically ill children. Say it again to Mr. Lavrov. Say it again. Exactly. It's Israeli propaganda. And by the way, Israel struck Hamas overnight last night, or targets in Gaza. Again, civilian targets. 19 civilians lost their lives. And also over the weekend, they launched missile strikes into Yemen. It's the same level of propaganda. Don't forget who Donald Trump cozies up to. He cozies up to Russia. He's a great guy. He said very nice things about me. I'm going to sign a picture. Hold on a second. I got to show it again because it's relevant. The American president standing in the Oval Office as the Russian government is unaliving civilians in Ukraine indiscriminately. Don't forget what Russia has done. Don't forget, this fucking traitor, took his word, a war criminal's word, over the United States and global intelligence services. And people like Charlie have been propagandized. It's a really simple question. You guys heard the conversation. It's really simple. What concessions has the Trump administration asked Russia to give up or to make? What concessions? There have been none. Security guarantees? Right? Do you really think that's going to work? Security guarantees, which then would require U.S. troops to be on the ground? And then the foreign minister of Russia saying we've never targeted civilian targets? It's the same thing that Netanyahu has said to justify taking out hospitals in Gaza. And this guy, this pathetic fucking traitor, aligns with those two people, telling Bibi Netanyahu to finish the job, attempting to embarrass Zelensky at the first Oval Office visit back in February. That shit show. caressing the hand of Vladdy the Daddy, applauding for him as he comes off of the plane, asking the U.S. military to get down on their knees. I think I have a picture of that. Asking the U.S. military to get down on their knees. Asking the U.S. military to get down on their knees. Literally down on their knees. One of the most despicable and embarrassing things I have ever seen. You're asking the United States military, the commanders, the soldiers are doing their job.
It has that smooth material.
Yeah, but it's also the mill. The mill.
Yeah.
The thicker it is, then you can put rocks and all that. The tall mill.
That's what this was. That's what this was.
Yeah, tall mill. It's not that big. And then remember when you put all those stones, and then you go and put the dirt on top of it, it's a lot of weight, right?
So yeah, what I was going to point out is if you get the kind that has, you see, it has those little squares on it, like that.
Yeah, for stretch.
That's the one you want to get.
All right, cool.
Yeah, this one's all smooth looking.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't have it. So this had a heavier mill, but it still wasn't able to take the rocks because it didn't have this material in it. The little squares in there.
Yeah, because also that liner is made for water, not to put stones over it.
Yeah. So what I did this time is I put an extra layer. I took the old stuff, this stuff right here, and I put a layer underneath. Then I put a layer of dirt on top of that, and then I put the pond liner on top of that. And then I put another layer of this scrap right here underneath where the rocks would be just laying directly.
Okay.
So I took that layer, put it in there.
Next time you do this, if you got old blankets, and it's better.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did. That's what I did with my pond. I put a whole bunch of old blankets that I had on cardboard. So just in case if there's a rock or something, it's not coming through. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did wrong. I fixed the problem. I'm just pointing it out to you guys.
And I see you took off the let me look on the side. Can you show me the side of the I see that you took out. Oh no, they there. It's the liner that you put over it. Okay.
Yeah, I put the liner on the ground, right directly on top of the brick right here.
Yeah.
And underneath, or right on top of that, was a layer of dirt.
Yeah.
And then I put this liner on, and put the rocks in there after that. So, and that's the outlet. Make sure when you do an outlet, you put the put some the cloth on there, and put that on there. Put a zip tie on it. So I use the shade cloth.
Yeah.
I took a little piece of shade cloth, zip tied it on there so bugs won't go up underneath there.
Right. Don't go in there because but they'll find a way.
They're like getting in there with the water. So that's what I did, and it works pretty good because I did that with the other plants.
So you had to empty this whole thing out because you had a leak.
Yeah, major leak.
Hey, so hey, I'm gonna tell you this: next time you make one, don't put the dirt. Do the stones.
Yeah.
You fill it up with water and wait a day, and
that's what I did.
Yeah, and wait a day. Make sure it's no leak because if you have like just the stones, it's easier to get it out than having to deal with the dirt and the stones after that.
That's what I did the second time.
Yeah.
And also I put these right here. See all these bolts right here? I put a little extra liner on top of these bolts right here.
Nice.
These bolts that go on the side here.
Uh-huh.
Put that liner on the bolts. That'll be on the video as well, showing how I set it up the second time.
I saw that you sent me a mess. I just haven't got into it, but I will definitely check it after this. Hey, the other thing that you can use for those things is just use get a can of foam. That foam. You just spray them, each of them, or do a line from top to bottom, and that will give you some type of protection there also.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I see water. Yep, nice,
Get that
nice.
water
I like
right there.
it.
It's
I
holding,
like it.
holding good.
I mean that dirt looks kind of damp. So
Oh yeah, we the sprinklers. This is our 1 day a week sprinkler day. So the sprinklers ran over on top of it. So
and for that, hey, and for those, because you know today it's kind of like people just coming in and say, oh, my plant didn't make it. My plant didn't make it. You know, the heat got to it. Well, you know what? Bolt's here. He's in Texas. He's in middle of Texas. And look at look, show them around. Show them around for me, please. Please, just you know,
so
like
this,
he's in Texas. Heat.
nothing but heat. Hitting 80, and it's already in the morning right now.
Yeah.
So this right here is one of our the older grow beds with plants in it. This has been in for I don't know 20 years, 15 years. We've been using the same technique, and the plants are still holding green. I even got a habanero in here growing again.
Nice.
So it's in there growing. And I got my this one right here, this banana, it's brand new still. It's still going.
It's me just said the correct thing. It's the love that you give them.
Yeah, there you go. This one grows all the way up. These are this is all tomato plants.
Does he rotate the plants he puts in the beds? They ask that question.
Do they rotate? Most of the time, like end of the season, I'll pull them out and just put some new ones in from Home Depot. There's another one. We just thin this one out so it can grow a little bit more for the hot weather, so it won't be stressing it out as much. There's our basil. This is one of our large grow beds. So if you guys are looking for this grow bed's a Vigo grow bed. It's a hack that we did, and that's why you usually don't see this because a lot of people don't do it. It takes a lot of work. I mean, it took like what 23 bags of rock in here, and about 8 bags of dirt just for this one right here. Nice. This is a 10 by I think 3. This is a 10 by 2 or 3 or something like that. That's what this is right here.
Nice.
So I just wanted to show you that I made a new.
Can you show the other side? The other side, like the other where your other garden bed. Just stay right there and just look up, and turn around your whole garden. Like turn around. Go to the left or right, whichever you want. No, go the other way. The rest of your garden.
Okay, gotcha.
I want people to see your garden. Like I want them to see you're in the middle of Texas. Heat. Look at all those plants, green plants. Even his grass is looking freaking amazing.
This is a fig tree right here.
Yeah, look at that. You know what I mean? Like, and then when I get somebody to come in my life and say, "Oh, the heat killed. The plant is taking a heat. It's getting pounded by the heat, and it's dying." Well, I don't know how much I can say. Like
you got grape over here. This is grape.
I might sound rough or whatever, but I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. I'm trying to motivate you. I'm trying to tell you that you are the problem in a nice way. Pretty much. Look at that grass. Look at underneath that. He's showing me something. Look at that. Oh my God! And he's in the middle of Texas heat. Like, come on, people. Look at all that.
The one big key thing you guys got to know too, if you guys don't have enough microclimate going on, and this is actually developing your microclimate, getting your large plants up here, right? Once you have that dappled shade and sun, you will have green grass.
Hey, actually, the view amount went down. I guess because they like, oh, he's so rough. I'm not being rough. I'm actually being nice. You know what I mean? I'm being nice.
Tell like it is, man. If you can't take it, get out there and do something about it.
Yeah. I'm being nice. I'm being really nice right now.
I mean, doing this work is not easy. I mean, this took us about 20 years.
Yeah, it's not about having one plant that gives you flower and you go and post and then get views and likes and people, and you get so excited. It's not about that. It's I want you to be a real true gardener, not someone that just posts whatever, right? I mean, we love gardening. It's a therapy. It's you have to have the passion for it. You have to love it, right?
Yeah, the animals. Yeah, we do have animals here. I mean, they come around, and I always see remnants left of them. They're coming through.
Yeah.
I do have one dog, actually, one Chihuahua. So we always constantly clean up after her, so she doesn't take over the excrement, I should say. We're trying to say it nicely, but so that won't take over the yard. So you get out there and just scoop it up. Just do your scooping. If you don't do your scooping, that stuff's gonna burn up your grass. You keep leaving it out there.
Right.
You gotta go out there and get those little landmines.
Right. It's true. It's true. You know.
If you don't go get them, man, it's gonna burn up your grass.
Right. And you know, it's like you. I mean, that's why I'm glad that you came in, because you proving me right. You proving me that I'm right. You know, look at you live in Texas.
Even between these rocks, I'm under a live oak tree, and these rocks are still green.
Yeah, you're green. Yeah.
That's not moss.
Yeah.
That is St. Augustine grass.
Oh, wow. So
the grass that I have a battle with two grasses here. It's a St. Augustine and also the Bermuda. All Texans hate the Bermuda.
Yeah, Bermuda.
I let them work together. I have more like 80% Augustine in that grass, and maybe the other 20 is the Bermuda.
Yeah, you have a blending of two, because you can actually grow beautiful Bermuda down south. It's just that when it gets cold, it turns brown, right?
Yeah, people treat it like a weed, man, but I'm trying to embrace it because let them two battle it out.
Right.
That's what they say. So here's the live oak that's under right now. The live oak tree that this is
tattoo Ed nerves. She's funny. No, I'm not. I don't rip anybody. It just. How can I say this? I mean, I know I can sound rough, but I'm not being rough, right? It's common sense, actually. You know, it's like, okay.
Yeah, after 20 years in the military, you ain't rough enough for me, man.
I know.
They have me.
Hey, for those that are in here, he served Navy. He's a veteran, and please thank him for his service, because we free because of him too, for his work.
And this one's a pineapple guava. It's still growing pretty good.
Look at that.
It's up out here. It started out down here, and now it's like right up to here now. And and this is all because we developed a microclimate with the big trees, the live oaks. So we started our yard with the live oaks, and then from there we started building up with the grow beds that we have here, and then started putting in plants that was able to take the heat.
Right.
And I was telling you guys before, is the plants that survive out here in the Texas heat most is the small leaf ones. This one is a Greggy salvia. See how small that leaf is?
Yeah.
It's doing very well. Right here, same thing, rosemary, right? Doing very good, right?
Yeah.
Rosemary.
Yeah, right, rosemary, yeah. And it's a beautiful plant, and you can actually use it too inside your house.
I got a yucca right here.
Ruth, her son is in the Navy. Well, tell him thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad he's serving.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is also let him know. Don't let him get to him, man.
Yeah, right. Use it, but don't let him get. Yeah.
They're gonna try and push his buttons, man. Tell him to just ignore it.
Yeah.
So this yucca right here is very common around here because it's almost like a desert plant. And this one, you could leave it out in the dry weather as well as shaded. It's doing well in here. It grows slower in the shade, but out in the sun, it'll grow a lot faster. So if you're looking for something like that's very hardy,
Johnny said that she has rosemary. Okay, I just gave you Shawnee B. I just gave you a follow back. She has it helps with mosquitoes, right? Oh, you see that?
Yeah, mosquitoes. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, the nice thing is they can take the heat too as well, and they don't really need to take as much water. They don't need as much water either. So most of all these plants is plants that don't really need a lot of water, just some, and it does very well. We get our once a week watering right now, and they're just like getting by with all the drip line we have and all that. But other than that, we haven't done anything else. No fertilizer.
Somebody asked about your. Can you tell them about how you keep your birth bath clean? Tell
How
them. Show them that. Show them what you did.
we keep what clean?
Tisha B. Welcome. If it's your first time popping up on my life, thank you.
How do we keep
your birth bath? Show them what you the trick.
Oh, the bird bath. Yeah. Okay, so yeah,
the trick that you actually taught me, and I did it actually too.
So the bird bath stays clean because I'm using copper. This copper right here. So you could get this copper at Home Depot, whatever, just little parts, and just throw it inside there. I got like 2 of them in there, and you see how clear it is? This has been sitting like all day yesterday. You know, usually overnight it practically got the algae growing. So, but this one just stays clean.
Anything that is copper, you can get a piece of copper.
Yeah.
You could even get screws out of copper. You see a screw?
Pennies. You can get pennies.
Yeah, pennies too. Pennies will work.
Yep.
You know.
This is our fig right here.
That's why. Hey, hold on. That's why when you go to a wishing well, like out in the somewhere, and they say dump. What they want you to dump is pennies in there.
Yeah. So they have to go out there and clean it all the time.
Yeah. That's why they say, hey, make a wish. Throw some, something in there. Most of the people throw pennies, and that's to help the water keep it clean.
Yep, exactly. I don't know. It might work. I don't know if it might be a conflict with the koi pond. You might be able to do that too. Who knows?
Yeah, no, that's if you don't have fish, it's fine. But if you got fish, it's a problem. Morning, Ginger.
Okay. Yeah, so this is all the setup. I mean, that was the first fig. I have another fig right here. So I have a sun fig and a shade fig. And then I got a Chicago fig over here.
And look at how green all this looks. This is why, I don't know, you got in right before. I mean, I kind of got into a few people, and it's not me getting it, and I apologize. Don't take me, don't get offended or anything. It goes for everybody.
That he is owning Putin, that he's owning Putin. And what was Charlie's first statement? Like you're saying it's ridiculous to say that Putin's dog walking him. No, it's the truth. Putin got everything he wanted from that Alaska summit. Everything. Don't forget, the world community has looked at Vladimir Putin as a pariah since invading Ukraine. There are warrants out from the ICC, which is the International Criminal Court, also known as The Hague, right? People know of that. The United States does not recognize rulings from the ICC. Neither does North Korea, right? So the reason that he could come safely to U.S. soil, was because there would be the exercising of said warrant. But if he went to Canada, if he went to the UK, if he went to other countries in Europe, he'd get arrested. An international war criminal with a warrant out for his arrest. Our president claps for him as he's coming off the plane. Our president, through the military, soldiers having to take orders to tack down the red carpet as said war criminal gets off the plane, and then they do the little hand stroke. And you guys think that Trump is dominating that conversation? Putin got everything he wanted. Everything. He got recognition. He got to do it on American soil. He got the American president to clap for him. He got the U.S. military to tack down the red carpet. He got the president to stroke his hand. He got a ride in the beast. He got to speak first at the press conference, and then he left. He got everything he wanted. Everything. No peace deal, no ceasefire, nothing. Not a damn thing. And then days later, hey, we got that hot mic moment. Oh, I think Putin's going to make a deal for me. See what Vlad said? He's going to make a deal for me. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? He's going to make a deal for me. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm going to come.
Why is it that the rest of the world sees it, except for, I'm not even going to say it's everybody that voted for Trump. Remember, we have these categories, right? I believe there are 4 categories. There are the rich, the billionaire class that appreciate the tax cuts, that don't have any soul. They don't give a fuck, right? There are the traditional Republican voters who don't pay attention to politics, who just go to the checkbox and just check R, right? Then there's the hardcore MAGA individuals, right? Who just will, no matter what he does, they will support him. And then there's the people that are kind of like, I can't see myself ever voting for the left. So I'll just swallow hard, gulp.
I'm going to come.
And vote for Trump. Those people, the 20, let's say of the 75 million, or the number was 77 million people that voted for him, there's 25 million people in our country, 25 or 30, maybe 40, let's say 40 million people, who genuinely believe everything that I just went through, that Trump won. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. It's like, don't be a Charlie. That's all I can tell you. It is like a sports team. You're exactly right. It is like a sports team. Don't be a Charlie. It is so embarrassing. And then again, Israel, Iran, not settled. India, Pakistan, not settled. Still skirmishes. Cambodia, Thailand, still skirmishes. DRC and Rwanda, still skirmishes. Albania and Azerbaijan, although it's Armenia and Azerbaijan, still skirmishes. Serbia, Kosovo, that happened in 2020. There have been skirmishes ever since. Nothing new now. And then Egypt and Ethiopia, again, still skirmishes. So not only did he not fulfill any of his promises, they are attempting to gaslight. They are literally attempting to gaslight. I think I've got some sound from Caroline Leavitt, which I think is crazy. See if I still have it. This is wild. Okay. Here's another example. The press secretary, again, doing her job. Every time you hear Caroline, friends, every time you hear her, she's wearing the cross, by the way, for this particular soundbite. Every time, how many wars? Tell me, everyman, why don't you request? Be brave. Step into the box. Be prepared to answer questions, though. I bet you won't. Every time I play a soundbite from Caroline, I will let you know if she's wearing the cross, but I will remind you that she was born in New Hampshire. If you know, you know. Here you go.
Since the president often says that this war would not have started if he were in office, and Putin confirmed that.
It's true. Do you accept that as true? The European leaders do. Well, and President Putin himself said that, by the way.
He did say that.
There you go. The press secretary standing in the press room saying, President Putin said it. The European leaders didn't agree with that at all. The press secretary standing in the press room, sharing Russian propaganda. Yeah, exactly. Shenanigans. Yeah, again.
Since the president often says that this war would not have started if he were in office, and Putin confirmed that.
It's true. Do you accept that as true? The European leaders do. Well, and President Putin himself said that, by the way.
He did say that.
God, it's crazy to me. And again, I'm going to have to try to figure out how I want to say this, but there is nowhere on Earth One where an American president should be praising the Russian president. Nowhere. Never happen with Reagan. Didn't happen with the Bushes. Certainly didn't happen with Obama. Didn't happen with Biden. Under Trump. So people can draw their own conclusions. We spent a lot of time last week. I took you guys through the money trail. I took you through the spy training. I took you through everything leading up to the 2016 election. Putin's own words that he would have rather had Trump elected. Putin said kind things about me. I don't know why I wouldn't believe him. Every other president has been like, no. No. Even elected members of our own government, Lindsey Graham, who's been like, Putin's a thug. It's only the president and you simps on the right, you mouth breathers who are too scared to come in the box and talk to me, defend it. And you consider yourself patriots? You consider yourself patriots. What about America first? What about America first? Are you going to be a Charlie? If your state's invaded, are you going to say it's okay, the invaders can have half of it because we don't want anybody else to lose their lives? Is that America first? So the Ukrainian government is supposed to just give over 20% of their country that they took and then more? Because again, that was part of the concession. Not just the Donbass, but additional territory as well. You just don't get it. You guys just don't get it. I can't help. I try every day. Okay. Thank you, Dana, by the way. Again, we are crowdfunded here, friends. If you want to support the channel, if you like these things that we talk about, I'd appreciate that. You can find all my various pay apps at Factsstillmatter. All my socials, in fact, at Factsstillmatter. We're streaming on YouTube. Please follow us on YouTube. Also, I'm on Substack. I'm on Twitch. No content over there yet, but we will be simulcasting very soon. So thank you very much. I do want to briefly just talk about TikTok because I don't know where do we sit now, because I mentioned this earlier. I think about now there's an official White House account. Okay, so if the threat was that we need to ban this app because of the threats of national security, then why would the president and the White House have an account? So there's talk about a U.S. buyer. I don't know. Obviously, there's another indefinite extension to the punishment, whatever. So it's just more bullshit, more just ridiculous hypocrisy. You know, first of all, to have that vote come down the way it did, just a little bit of clarification on there. It was not a single issue vote, a single issue bill, which the right complains that they should only have, and yet they introduce them all the time. They put other shit in it, pork in the bill, which kind of forced a lot of legislators' hands to sign it. I get it. I understand. But it's just how ironic now that we've got the president and the White House opening, launching their official White House TikTok page. And here we are, right? I think there's some reporting on Mr. Garcia. Is that correct, guys? Okay. I'll read this. It's breaking news. Let's do our sounder. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man wrongfully deported to El Salvador in March and later returned to the U.S., was taken into federal custody today by immigration authorities. An attorney for Abrego Garcia confirmed the news to NPR. The detention, which was expected, happened minutes after Abrego Garcia walked into the Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in Baltimore for a check-in after being released from custody on Friday in Tennessee pending a trial on separate criminal charges. Talking to supporters gathered outside the building, Abrego Garcia said seeing his family over the weekend filled him with hope and said those moments will give him strength to continue fighting. God is with us, he said. God will never leave us. God will bring justice to all the injustice we are suffering, Abrego Garcia said, fighting through tears. Abrego Garcia on Monday filed a lawsuit challenging his current detention and any deportation to Uganda or any other country until a trial is held at an immigration court. At the core of his case is the question of due process under President Trump's aggressive crackdown on undocumented immigrants in the U.S. The man was arrested in March and sent to a notorious prison in El Salvador, CICOT, despite a 2019 court order barring his deportation to the Central American country because of, quote, well-founded fear of potential gang persecution there. The Trump administration conceded Abrego Garcia's removal was an administrative error and returned to the U.S. in June to face charges. So he should have never been deported to begin with. He was indicted on 2 charges, including conspiracy to transport undocumented immigrants and unlawful transportation of migrants without legal status. The Trump admin has said it intends to deport Abrego Garcia to Uganda, despite the latter government indicating last week it prefers to receive people from other African countries and individuals without criminal records. Abrego Garcia's attorney said in a court filing that the U.S. government has offered the possibility of deporting him to Costa Rica if Abrego Garcia pled guilty to all the charges against him and then served the imposed sentence. As attorneys have said, that move is coercive and vindictive. Quote, regardless of what happens today with ICE, please promise me that you will keep fighting, praying, believing in the dignity and the liberty for not only me, but for everyone. So Uganda basically said our prisons are filled. In fact, our prisons are overfilled. We can't take anybody else. So, and then obviously the intent of the right is to get him to confess the crimes that he did not commit so that they can say, see, it is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. should not have been deported from the beginning. Remember that famous interview that Trump did from the Oval Office with Terry Moran, the fucking idiot in chief, believing that the photoshopped MS-13 on his knuckles were actual tattoos. And here we are. No evidence. Charges without any evidence. None whatsoever. The administration eventually admits that it was an administrative error, that he was deported in the first place, was treated horribly at CCOT. Hands and feet bound together, had to slouch over for hours. For what? For what? For what? Because the administration is loaded with a bunch of fucking racists. They do not care. They do not care about humanity. They do not care about civility. They're not humanitarian. They don't give a flying fuck. They just want to feed red meat to their base. That's it. That's it. Patriots. Patriots. There is absolutely no justification for any of that to have happened. I'm not defending Mr. Garcia. I'm not. If there are charges, if there's legitimacy, if there's criminal conduct, and he goes to trial, he gets a fair trial through due process, and he's found guilty, I accept it. I'm defending his rights. I'm defending his rights. I'm defending everyone's rights. That's why we say in this space all the time that we care, people on the left care more about the rights of MAGA than they do. We care more about your constitutional rights than you do. We care more about your protections under the law than you do. We care more about the health, well-being, and safety of your families than you do. We care more about your economic future than you do. We care more about your health than you do. Don't show me what your values are. Don't tell me what your values are. Show me your budget. Proof positive that we care more about things that matter than you do. We care more about your access to clean water and clean air than you do. We care more about affordable housing than you do. We care more about people with substance abuse disorder than you do. There is absolutely no justification for what's happened to that family. None. Again, I am not defending Mr. Garcia. I'm not. I'm defending his rights to due process. We should all care about that. Our administration does not give a fuck. They do not care. They are loaded with a bunch of guardians of predators. That's what they seem to care about. Not the constitutional rights of citizens or just anybody in our country, because the constitutionalists out there that don't know shit about the Constitution don't understand that every person in our country is entitled to due process under the law. Period. Full stop. Full stop. They do not care. So we have to. And we do. And we will. Hey, Drew.
Hey, good morning, Steve. How you doing today, sir?
I'm all right, brother. How you doing? Happy Monday.
Thank you, man. I just wanted to point one thing out, just real quick. Just kind of going back to the lovely picture you showed us earlier of him holding up a picture. This happened not during some press conference about World Matters. This happened during a press conference about soccer.
Exactly.
It's happening about the World Cup. And I think it's important that as independent journalists, and I would hope that the big guys would do this as well, is point out where this is happening, because it's happening over and over again, where he sits in front of either world leaders or business leaders, people who have nothing to do with what's going on, and he'll badmouth other Americans. He'll talk about things that he doesn't really need to be talking about in front of the people that he's there with at that time or in the context of that meeting. And to me, it's almost like for the folks that are there willingly, like the Americans who go and support his weird programs, it's almost worth it to see them standing there having to squirm, like seeing like Triple H and all those guys having to squirm while he spewed his BS in front of everybody. But I think as independent journalists, I would like to see everybody keep pointing out that like this was a meeting about the PE program. Like, why are we talking about Putin all of a sudden? It's so, and the worst thing to me, and it's always going to be this, and he'll never never stop trashing other Americans in front of foreign world leaders. That shouldn't,
of course not,
matter what your politics are. That shouldn't happen no matter what party you're in. I mean, I'm just trying to, again, you'd always say, what about Biden? What if he did that? What if Obama, Hillary, anybody did that in front of world leaders? It would be talked about nonstop, 24/7, 365.
Exactly.
That's all I want to point
Since
out,
you're here again,
that's the thing
before
that
you
blew
leave,
my mind. Yes.
I agree. Before you leave, I just want to play the sound again.
And I was just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But I'm going to sign this for him, but I was sent one, and I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming, and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. But I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay?
The way he says his name, Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin.
I'm going to come.
Seriously. I mean,
God.
I know. I
can't believe this is our reality, Steve.
I know, brother. I know. It's absolutely embarrassing. And the problem that we have is there's don't be a Charlie. You're not, thankfully, Drew. There's people that just don't see anything wrong with it. They see it as something. It's because it is literally unprecedented. You would never see anything like this, and they think that that's a good thing. No, it's not. It's not a good thing under any conditions. Should an American president be standing next to the Resolute desk so people can't see his ankles because he's got a lot of health issues going on, bragging about getting a picture from Vladdy the Daddy? It's wild. It's wild.
That whole thing with his health problems and the makeup on the hand and hiding, like, it's so funny because the one thing you always hear MAGA people talk about is how tough he is. Oh, he's such a tough guy. If he were truly tough, he would remove the makeup. He would stand out there and say, look, I'm still fighting for you. I'm dealing with these health issues. I'm still out here fighting for you, man. And I'm going to keep fighting for you until my last breath. But instead, he's like, oh, I got to put the makeup on. I got to hide my cankles. I'm going to look back at this time of history, hopefully when I'm an old man. I'm getting there. And just wonder what the hell. I mean,
old-ish, Drew. Old-ish. Remember that.
I'm getting close. I'm creeping close to 50, but I'll be 49 in September. Getting closer.
Dude.
I'm catching up to you.
Whatever.
Man. You're getting younger. I'm getting older.
Thanks for jumping in today, brother. It's always good to talk to you. I appreciate you.
No problem, Steve. I appreciate it, man.
Talk to you later.
Care.
All right, bye. I got to look this up real quick. I just got a vibe from that statement we just heard from Trump. Hold on a second. So I can find it real quick. Okay. Is this a good one? This is the vibe I got. You ready?
Here with his thoughts is our own drunk uncle.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween. 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 Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Am I right? It gives me the drunk uncle. It gives me the drunk uncle vibe. Okay. All right. Unreal. It's embarrassing, and they just don't care. It's weird. It's weird. It's so weird. Good morning, user. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Why don't you have a username?
I just scroll on here with my daughter and stuff, just to see funny videos for her, but I don't really get on here much. But it's just I just seen you on live and hear all this, and I'm a Christian, Well, I don't even like to say that now because I like to say I follow Jesus because Christian is wild to me now.
Who did you vote for?
I honestly didn't vote, and that was my mistake.
It was like, were you considering voting for Trump as a Christian?
No, not at all. No.
Okay.
And my reasoning, even the reason I say all this is because, even at my church, it's sad to hear everything, and everything that they say. And it's like I told them, I was like, listen, if I can't stand in front of my daughter or my son and say that you guys can look up to this man and it would be okay for you guys to act the way this man acts.
But do you understand, though, that you're not voting at all is basically advocating you didn't think it was so bad that you couldn't see yourself voting for Kamala Harris?
No, it's not. I didn't have a problem with Kamala at all. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to make excuses. I mean, I was just, I didn't do it. Like and I actually told my wife, that was my mistake.
Yeah, but why didn't you vote for her? Why?
It's not, like I said, it's not that I had something against her. I just didn't want to vote. I just didn't feel like.
But I'm asking you why.
Tired.
But
I don't know. I felt
understand
tired.
That. Well, again, but why? I understand that you didn't. I understand that you didn't vote for her. We get that, but why?
Like I said, I felt tired politically, wise. I felt tired. And I didn't. Yeah, I didn't want to listen to it anymore. Yeah.
So, but if you don't want to listen to it anymore, but that isn't your vote your voice?
Exactly, and that's where I said, it was my mistake, and that's what I talked now with my wife. Everything going on, I'm like, and I believe, a lot of it came from, my church too. Everything that they would kind of just try to instill and everything. So I don't want to say I was.
What was your church instilling? What was your church instilling in you?
Well, the problem I have now is with Christianity is we seem to be a two-topic thing: abortion and homosexuality is what it seems to be now. That's the two things that they bring up all the time, and now I'm like, I even have arguments with them, and it's like, we can't be a two-topic, kind of people, because at the end of the day, Jesus told us to love our neighbor no matter what, Jesus told us to. I was like, I just don't understand these teachings that we're doing now, because Jesus didn't say love your neighbor unless, it's like right. Jesus told us love your neighbor despite anything, and
what did Jesus say about the poor, about the homeless?
It's you clothed me, you gave me. I mean, and that's what I've always been instilled in my whole life, and that's why I don't understand, and I'm like, now, as things go by and I see all this going on, that's what I tell them. I'm like, listen, guys, we can't talk about Jesus and support this. We just can't. This is
right.
not in the teachings of Jesus. It's just not. And
well, you've got to do your part, user. I mean, what can I call you? What can
Daniel?
Daniel, you've got to do your part, though, Daniel. Lazy and apathy is how democracy dies.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, and I take full responsibility for that. Yeah, you're right.
That's good.
And I mean,
that's good.
And I'm like, I just, my main thing is I can't be supportive of something if I can't stand in front of my daughter and my son and say, and sound like a hypocrite. Don't act like this, don't talk like this, don't be like this. But yet I support everything that I tell them not to be.
What do you think? What kind of message do you think it would have sent? I've got a daughter too, so that's the shirt. So #GirlDad, bro. And now for people who have daughters, especially dads. It's this relationship. If you don't have it, you'll never understand. So I see you there. Imagine the message that it would have sent to your daughter. to say, you know, I was conflicted in my voting. Not that I was ever going to vote for Donald Trump, but I decided I was feeling apathetic. I was feeling lazy. But I went to my polling location and I voted for Kamala Harris to be the first woman president of our country. Can you imagine the message that would have sent to your daughter?
No, you're right. You're right.
Right. And not just to your daughter, but to your son as well, because we're trying to break the misogyny cycle. We are trying to break that cycle. So you can't be lazy. These things are too important. People apathetic. And I sadly, Daniel, I have to put you in this group because people that did not show up also contributed to why he's in the White House.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and I don't make excuses for that. You're absolutely right. And, I'm a person that, like I said, I told my wife, I was like, I messed up. I screwed up. Like that's just, and I.
Did your wife vote, Daniel?
Yeah.
Who did she vote for?
I want to say Kamala. It's her own thing, but I think, I'm just how she speaks.
Did you guys talk about it? Is just not a conversation you guys had?
I mean, we did, but it's just like I tell her, I want it to be something personal for you. I don't want you to base your decisions on me. I don't want you to base your decisions on anybody.
Sure.
That's a personal thing for you. But she's not a supporter of Trump at all. So yeah.
Good. Isn't it weird? Do you think? I mean, I know you said you're a churchgoer, and I respect that. But so many people that I speak to in this space, and I'm sure you run into them in your church as well, who claim to be Christians like you or a follower of Christ or whatever that might be, have voted for this guy.
Yeah, no.
How?
No,
how could they do that? How could they do that?
I can imagine that 98% of my church probably did. I mean, I'm not even gonna try to hide the fact.
So here's my next question for you, and this is going to be a difficult one. Why do you still attend that church?
Well, to be honest with you, I've been praying about it, and I've been on the fence about leaving for a little bit now, and I've actually spoken to several people, and I think my next step is speaking with my pastor. But I don't. It's conflictive to me. Like it's like being very conflictive to me. The way that of the God that I know, of the God that I was taught, it's nothing like what this is. Nothing. So
is it? So here's a question for you, because you can be devout in your faith without the church, right?
Yeah.
So. Because I want to take you at your word, Daniel. You sound like a sincere guy. We've got a bond over daughters again. #GirlDad. To associate with a church and church, the actual church, to associate with a congregation there, and in your words, you said 90% of the people in that congregation voted for Trump. Why would you want to associate with that, especially since you have kids, especially since you have a daughter?
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I felt like, like it's time for me to leave, and I just been praying about it and, seeing how I got the best way that I can, exit out, because me as a person, I don't like to leave a place and leave it like just, I want to be able to sit down with my pastor and explain why. And, and put my thoughts out there and explain to him, exactly why it is and why my stance, why I stand, where I stand, and why I believe, what I believe, because I believe that that's the right thing to do, to be able to speak it out and speak your mind. And in a way, I believe that it's what God would want me to do too, is, because at the end of the day, it's like I tell everyone, a pastor is human. Churchgoers are human. No one is perfect. But at the end of the day, if we're going to, talk about God and all this, we have to be very careful, because instead of bringing people closer to God, a lot of times what we do is take them further away. And
Do you really
because of
believe
the
that?
way
Do you really believe that,
Yeah,
though?
I
Because
mean,
do you believe? Here's a question for you. Do you believe that morality is subjective, Daniel?
no, I mean the problem is that the way that we, the way that most Christianity nowadays is, you have to be like this or you have to be like that, and or you're gonna be condemned to hell, or you're gonna all this and all that, and it's the way that we carry our message, the way that we say things, is what's going to bring someone closer to God, or is going to take them further away, because it comes out to the good Lord. If your God is that hateful, then I don't want anything to do with him. So
I don't see. I look at it the other way. Quite frankly, I look at people. It's the hypocrisy for me, because I grew up Catholic. I get it, and I've deconstructed a long time ago, but it's still the journey. It sounds like you're kind of in that. Am I deconstructing a little bit here? The issue that I have for people who claim to support the same faith and beliefs that you do would still see themselves voting for him, right?
and that's a big problem.
So that's more the individual, right? Because there are plenty of, I know plenty of Christians that would never ever consider doing that. Would never consider it. I have friends of mine, but that's the issue that I see, right? It's more about them. Ultimately, people are going to make their own choices, right? But if people are so, I don't see how it's possible for somebody to have the same belief set that you do from a spiritual perspective and from your religious perspective to support a man who has said the things that he has said about women. Just that alone should be enough to disqualify him. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, again, you don't owe your pastor anything, Daniel. This is about your own journey. You don't own him or her anything. You just you owe yourself your own kind of, what path do I want to follow, and I don't want to associate this. I do want to leave you with this, though. Your vote matters, right? If it's not yourself that you're voting for, it's your kids. It's your daughter. Vote for look your daughter in the eye. How old is she?
4.
She's 4.
Yeah.
She's 4. Okay, look your daughter in the eye and say, I am voting for your right to your own body. I am voting for your safety and your security. I'm voting for you, my son, because I don't want you to be red-pilled. I don't want you to fall victim to this kind of shit. That's who you're voting for, okay?
Mm-hmm. You're right, yeah.
Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate you, Daniel. Thanks a lot for being here.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it. See you later. Power of the church. Man, it's crazy. Wow. Good for you, Daniel. Good luck on your journey. Hi, Shannon. How are you? Shenanigans?
I'm sorry. I did not mean to come up.
No problem, friend. Sorry. No sweat. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Hi, Nanny.
Hi again. It's just a quick comment on what Daniel said about the church. The Egyptian church, I'm speaking about the Egyptian church in the U.S. I had like a problem 2 weeks ago. I was in a live and someone asked me, did the Egyptian church directed people to elect Trump? And I said yes. And then everyone in the live that just attacked me, and they even made a police report to back in my country. But this was a truth. They denied at the beginning, and then at the end, one of them confessed. They said, "Okay, for the future of your kids, if you worry about your kids, you have to elect him." Why? Because I know their mentality. Most of my people, the Egyptian people here in the US, they worry about the LGBTQ and the abortion things. They are against these two, which I really, really hate, because we have to respect people, whatever their mind, whatever their lives, whatever is everything. But I feel myself, I'm alone in this, how can I say, in this war, Now, most of my people in my church, they don't like me because I face them with what's going on. So as Daniel said, we are talking about 2 points, abortion and LGBTQ society. Okay, what about other things that we lost? What about other things that your kids will never have it when they grow up? What about your kids that will not be able to go to good universities and have good education in the future? What about your daughter that maybe lose her right to vote, maybe enforce it to stay home, maybe if her husband like mistreat her, she will never have the right to complain? They never think about all these things. They have only 2 goals in front of their eyes, the LGBTQ and the abortion, which is really stupid and which has really led us to this mess that we are in today. So it's not only the American church, it's the Egyptian church as well.
I agree. Those outside influences are hard to break through. Thanks again for jumping in, Nanny. I appreciate you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, sure, bye. It's an uphill fight, right? I mean, I could hear it. I could hear it in Daniel. I'm gonna assume he's being sincere. When the lines get blurred. Real quick, let me just thank some people. Lauren, thank you so very much. Lauren said, sending luck your way. Appreciate you, Lauren. Heather, thank you so much. You're always here in the $2 train. I appreciate you, Heather, for your kindness. Tracy, thank you so much as well. Appreciate you. Thanks for all you do to help keep us fucking zen. I try, Tracy. Not every day. And Dana, as always, thank you very much. You guys are so kind. That was an interesting conversation, right? It's always been the hypocrisy for me. I mean, sure, Ricky Gervais does this great interview with Stephen Colbert, right? He talks about we know Stephen Colbert is a loud and proud Catholic, very devout in his faith, and Ricky Gervais is a loud and proud atheist, and he's like, listen, basically, I believe in one less God than you do. So it's like, and I really like that conceptually. I don't want to judge someone's faith. I will judge someone's faith who tries to create policy and legislation around it. If you can get strength and you can get hope and you can get salvation from the church, then so be it. As long as you're not a Trump voter and you're a hypocrite and you're attempting to pass laws that take away the rights of my family and people that I care about. But a good conversation. Good luck in your deconstruction. I appreciate you. All right. I do want to, do I have anybody else in the guest box? Yeah, Chris is here. I'll bring Chris in, and then I'm going to shift to our topic today because we do need to cover the results of Ms. Maxwell's testimony and the audio. Hey, brother, how are you?
All right, how are you doing, Stevie? Good weekend.
Great weekend, my guy. You were nervous. I felt good.
I was a little nervous, but I'm very happy. But the thing that kills me with Trump is they flood the zone with so much stuff. Stuff gets buried. They fired a general the other day.
I know.
Just because he told the truth.
Correct. The guy who was responsible, his agency was responsible for the intelligence from the average attack on the Iranian nuclear facility. Correct.
Yeah. I mean, and people are just like, oh, la-di-da. He fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics because he didn't like the numbers. He fired a general because he didn't like the intelligence report. No. They think it's all right. Correct. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I agree.
But again,
it's dangerous, though.
I don't get why the right is such snowflakes. What the hell is with Cracker Barrel? They took the cracker off the logo when they're all upset. I don't get it. What's wrong with these people?
They're soft, Chris. You know
they're
that.
Very soft.
They're soft. Yep. They have delicate hands. They have very delicate hands.
But I think Trump's a lot sicker than they're letting on. I think I don't think you have to worry about the 25th. I don't think he's going to make it to the midterms.
Yeah. I mean, he does not look well. I mean, he's never really looked well, but it's
he's looking
pretty bad. Yeah. I mean, he's got, what he has, I forget what it's actually called, but they say that that's a precursor to congenital heart disease.
Well, some people
I'm not going to diagnose,
Some people think he does have congenital heart disease now. That's why you're seeing the bruise on the hand because they're putting diuretics.
Correct.
That would be for that. And so, because you don't see him standing much anymore. You always see him sitting down behind the desk, so you don't see his ankles. He really looks. He never looked good, like you said, but he's looking worse. He can't walk straight.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think you're gonna have to worry about the 25th. I don't think he's much. And he even hinted at it on Timu Twitter when he was going on about not making it into heaven.
Yeah. And then Caroline Levitt kind of doubled down on that in the press room. But you're right. I guess we'll see. But I mean, he's not looking well. When you have I'd like to think that I could plow through, McDonald's every day, but I can't. I mean, I would, but I can't.
No.
So, but that's his diet, basically.
Yeah,
and,
especially at our age.
High stress job. Exactly.
Exactly. It's not good. So, but
thank you, buddy. I appreciate you as always.
All right, pal. Pretty good.
See you later. All right, go Sox. Go Sox, dude. Go Sox, kid. Dude guy. One more request, and then we'll get into because we're going to shift gears because we have to talk about this. Cece. Cece, how are you today? Cece, are you there? I guess not. Sorry. Dude guy, exactly. Okay. So everybody keep tapping and sharing. So we're gonna get into the whole situation with the Maxwell testimony from last week. I'm gonna be careful how we navigate through this, friends, because there's a lot of questionable statements that are being made. I guess the first place to start is, in case you don't know, the Department of Justice has released the transcript and the audio from the interview that Todd Blanche, who is the deputy AG or an assistant AG, who used to be Trump's lawyer, met with Maxwell last week at her country club or jail. It is unprecedented for something like that to happen. First of all, she should never have been moved in the first place because she's on the registry as a predator. Second of all, the fact that it's so deeply connected and circling around the twice impeached, four-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon, name on a list predator, that why would you even draw attention to it, right? So then there's all that. And remember, when you hear what you're going to hear, the sound that I'll play for you, I'm not going to play a lot of it because I'm just going to read from the transcript instead. I think I can navigate through that a little bit better, taking the advice of my mods, because again, I have the best mods in the business, and I checked in last night. I'm like, what do you think? And they're like, can you get the transcript? I'm thinking, yeah, maybe we'll play it. Then on second thought, I'm not going to play all of it. I'm just going to play some of it, and I'm going to read through the transcript. So all those things are really sort of suspicious, which is why, never mind sort of suspicious, it is suspicious. And then the Oversight Committee was supposed to get what they had on Friday, and the Democrats are like, what the fuck? This is like, we already have this information. This is already public, okay? The biggest revelation to me, and I think this is going to be difficult for the right to navigate, is that Ms. Maxwell said, of course, that she didn't see anything inappropriate that Mr. Trump did. Who's to define what inappropriate is? Because we certainly know why Ghislaine Maxwell was behind bars because of what she did. She also claimed she never saw Bill Clinton do anything inappropriate either. So that's why we need the information. She is not a fucking victim. She is a fucking predator, period. I'm going to read to you, first of all, before we get into this, I want everybody to be reminded as to what it is that she went to jail for. Let's see. She was sentenced to conspiracy to entice minors to travel to engage in illegal schmex acts, conspiracy to transport minors to participate in illegal schmex acts, transporting a minor to participate in illegal schmex acts, trafficking and conspiracy and trafficking of a minor. That's what she was convicted of and sent to jail for. Initially, there were perjury charges against her. Those perjury charges were dropped because of, let me see if I can find that. I have that someplace. The perjury charges were dropped because she was convicted of other crimes. Where is it? These are what the perjury charges were. Prosecutors said that Maxwell lied under oath in her 2016 depositions in Virginia Dufresne versus Maxwell and charged her with 2 federal perjury counts, 18 U.S. Code 1623. And this is what the indictment says that she said that were false claims. Question. This is from an April 22nd, 2016 deposition. Question. Quote, did Jeffrey Epstein have a scheme to recruit underage girls for sexual massages? Answer. I don't know what you're talking about. Question, list all the people under the age of 18 that you interacted with at any of Jeffrey Epstein's properties. Answer, I'm not aware of anybody other than, obviously, the plaintiff who was 17 at this point. Count 6, July 22nd, 2016 deposition. Denied knowing about any toys and or devices that were in Epstein's Palm Beach house. No, not that I recall. Claims she wasn't aware of Epstein having any activities with anyone when she was with him other than herself. That is my testimony. That is correct. She'd said that she had not given anyone a massage, including Epstein and then the minor victim in this case. That is my testimony. I never gave a minor or the victim in this case a massage. Okay? So we know that all of that is a lie. So the question that MAGA has to ask themselves, and I think this is going to tell us a lot, friends, is are they going to believe this woman? Because they don't believe women in general. Without question, they do not believe women. They didn't believe the victims of the allegations of legitimate allegations against Donald Trump of the 28 women who've said these things. They didn't believe E. Jean Carroll. They don't believe Stacey Williams. They don't believe any of them. Will they believe her? So then they're going to be finding themselves in an interesting predicament because a lot of them are convinced that Trump has done nothing wrong, but Bill Clinton has. So Maxwell in her testimony said that she never saw Clinton do anything inappropriate either. So again, this is going to be an interesting exercise. Okay, so I'm going to get into, I want to play some of the sound for you guys, and I'm going to do my best to kind of navigate this. So this is the NBC kind of compiled a lot of the statements made. So I think the easiest thing for me to do is to try to play this, and then I'm going to get into the transcript because there's some things in there that I took out from the transcript, and I'm just like, okay, like what the fuck is even this? All right, so here you go. I'll do my best, friends. Mods, I'm on it. Thank you guys. I appreciate you looking out for me. Tapping is clapping, friends. Sharing is caring. Please, the more activity we have in the live, the more likely we can get through this. Before I do that, I'm going to play the PSA one more time just to kind of make sure that we are doing the best we can here, and I'll be right back.
Best of our ability. We strive to never spread misinformation or to platform those that do. Opinions of our guests or commenters are theirs and theirs alone and do not reflect those of the host. Hate speech is not allowed, and we are diligent about policing it. This platform is for educational purposes only. We now return you to our regular and reflect those of the host. We now return you to our regularly scheduled pandemonium, already in progress.
Thank you for waiting for me. I appreciate you. Okay, here we go.
Tonight, Ghislaine Maxwell in her own words.
I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way.
Describing her.
Words matter. So the person who was found guilty of all those things that I went through, and we have got numerous other women who not only did she facilitate and traffic, but she also participated. So her definition of inappropriate is subject to interpretation, I suppose.
Her interactions with President Trump decades ago.
The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
She also says she does not believe former President Clinton did anything inappropriate either, while interacting with Jeffrey Epstein, who would later become a convicted sex offender.
President Clinton was my friend, not Epstein.
Statement she said right there said President Clinton was my friend, not Jay's friend. So again, here we go, right? Here we go. In her own testimony that is in the transcript, I never saw President Trump do anything inappropriate. Marjorie Taylor Greene has already gone out on Twitter saying, there you go. Maxwell said that she didn't see anything inappropriate. She also said the exact same thing about Bill Clinton. So how are we going to square this, right? Well, we know. We don't give a fuck who it is. If any of them have committed any kinds of crimes, especially connected to this shit, we're talking about fucking children. I don't mean what I said there. We're talking about inappropriate acts with children. You get me. That was weird. That's what we're talking about. Okay. We don't care who it is. So MAGA, we don't give a shit. If Bill Clinton did something, I will point this out, and I am not defending Clinton. There's never been any charges that I know of that have ever been, or even accusations of inappropriate activity on anything connected with Clinton and Epstein properties. Bill Clinton cheated on his wife numerous times when he was the governor, when he was the president, etc. So I'm not defending him in any regard. I'm just saying that's what the data tells us. Okay, cool.
Over 2 days last month, Maxwell spoke with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was once one of President Trump's personal lawyers.
You meeting with us today, we're really just meeting. I'm not promising to do anything.
The White House has been facing mounting pressure to release more information about the investigation into Epstein, who the Justice Department concluded died by suicide while awaiting trial in 2019. Conspiracy theories have swirled that he was murdered to cover up a client list.
Did you know of the existence of any such list?
There is no list.
Maxwell was asked about what she thinks happened.
I do not believe he died by suicide.
Still, she insists that Epstein likely would not have been targeted by someone outside the prison.
If it is indeed murder, I believe it was an internal situation.
Maxwell's serving 20 years as Epstein's co-conspirator in the sex trafficking of young women, though her attorney says she's innocent. Also today, the Justice Department turned over the first batch of its Epstein files to Congress in response to a subpoena.
I'm in support of keeping it open. Innocent people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be people, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach.
That's a big tell right there. Again, don't forget, think about the narrative, right? The files don't exist. They're created by Democrats. It's a witch hunt. There's stuff in the files. It's not me. If the stuff that's in the file that mentions my name is fake, then you got to blame the Democrats. So this is what we're talking about here. The layers of cover up. And as you all know, that when you tell one lie and then you tell another lie to cover up that lie, that leads to another lie, that leads to another lie, then that fucking stone just keeps rolling.
Gabe Gutierrez joins us now from the White House. Gabe, could Ghislaine Maxwell be pardoned here?
Gotti, several survivors of Epstein's crimes and their families are vehemently against that. But today, Maxwell's attorney argued that his client was a scapegoat after Epstein died in prison. The president recently said that he was allowed to pardon her, but no one had asked him.
That he was allowed to pardon her, but nobody asked him. Okay, so I've kind of summarized. I've got the transcript, and then there's some timestamps on it. So I'm just going to kind of read it through, guys, and I'm going to do it. Am I a gay communist? Scotty, would that be a problem for you? Are you so triggered by that? Would that be a problem for you? Do you even know what a communist is, Scotty? Probably not. They're so dumb. Okay. According to the transcripts, Maxwell told Mr. Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, that Mr. Trump was a, quote, gentleman in all respects. Quote, the president was never inappropriate with anybody, she said. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects. Maxwell also commented on other prominent figures, including the Duchess of York, tech billionaire Elon Musk, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is now Mr. Trump's Health and Human Services Secretary, Bill Clinton, the former U.S. president, and economist Larry Summers, who served as Mr. Clinton's Treasury Secretary. Okay, Maxwell, Clinton may have had massages. Maxwell has said that Bill Clinton and Larry Summers could have had massages because during their friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Speaking to Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General said that the former U.S. President and Treasury Secretary were men, and that it's possible they could have received massages with favors, although I didn't see it, and I don't know if that was the case. Okay. To suggest that Larry Summers or Clinton would certainly go, oh my gosh, this is like a guy, I'm going to get my body rubbed and have some schmecks. They're men that went and had a massage and maybe did something schmexual. They're men. I wasn't in the room. I can't tell you if it happened. I don't know. Okay. The release of the Maxwell interview comes on the same day that the Trump administration provided the first batch of files to a key congressional committee. The House Oversight Committee issued a subpoena for all the documents. All right, so directly from the transcript, it's right here. So if you wanted to follow along, if you have it, you can find it out there. I'm on page 101. And it's a series of questions that's kind of leading up to that particular part that we just discussed. I'm also going to be playing some witness testimony, some survivor testimony that's going to refute a lot of this, in my opinion. We are now in a space where we've got people on the right, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, literally putting out a statement on Twitter saying, you see, Maxwell said Trump did nothing wrong. That's the narrative they're going to run with. The problem is, she implied the same about Clinton, like he could have gotten a massage. I don't know. But I didn't, he's my friend. I never saw him do anything inappropriate. said the same thing about Trump. Okay? And don't forget, there's this too. Hold on. I just want to play this before we get into this because this is important. There's a lot of context here.
Your Justice Department is also sending some of the Epstein files over to the House Oversight Committee today. Are you in support of them releasing all of them?
Keeping it open.
If they wanted to release,
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be. You know, people, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them because it's a Democrat hoax. That's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. So we had the greatest 6 months, 7 months in the history of the presidency, and the Democrats don't know what to do, so they keep bringing up that stuff. But it affected them. Bill Clinton was on his plane and went to the island supposedly 28 times. I don't want to bring that up, frankly.
But you just did.
You have Larry, whatever his name is, Summers, the head of Harvard, who was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Nobody ever talks about that. I mean,
but you just did.
But I don't want to hurt Larry Summers. But he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. No, this is a Democratic hoax to try and get the significance of what we've done over the past 7 months. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They say it's #1 in history.
Again, if you want to levy the allegations and accusations against Bill Clinton for being on the flight logs, you're on them too, sir. So it can't be a hoax when you're connected to the same information. So if it's a Democratic hoax, then the Democrats are throwing Clinton under the bus too? You see what I mean when there's just one lie after another? So that is the same press moment that he had when he's standing behind the Resolute desk so nobody can see his cankles with a capital K, with his Trump was right about everything hat on just moments before he pulled out the picture of Vladimir Putin because I'm sure he had a lot to do.
I'm going to come. Anyway.
So let's get into the transcript because I think it's important. So this is again on the top of page 101. What about the royal family, Maxwell? No. Oh, by the way, also in this, before I get too far deep into it, she claimed that this picture of Prince Andrew and Virginia Giuffre is fake. So she claimed that that's fake too. So the way I am interpreting everything that I've read and everything that I've seen from and heard from the audio is that she is trying to create the scenario that nothing happened. That literally there is no trafficking, there's no list, there's no inappropriate behavior, nothing. The only person who was ultimately responsible was J.E. and not herself. And the only way she can do that is to literally just lie about information that we already have. Okay? So she has claimed that this is fake or doctored. You can decide. Okay? You guys can decide. It's up to you. All right. What about the royal family? Maxwell answers, no, he didn't know them in the 1980s. He referring to J.E. What about the picture? What about Prince Andrew? Maxwell didn't know him in the 90s. When did Maxwell jumps in? Oh, well, is that right? Blanche, I wouldn't know. I do not know. So I don't know what, I don't want you to have to worry about exact dates. You're not positive about that, but you don't have a specific recollection of that being in the 90s. Maxwell, no. Blanche, okay. Maxwell, I can date it for you, I think, but I can't give you. That's okay. I think that's fine. So with respect to just, and we'll take a break in a minute to get some food, but just with respect to the individuals you just talked about. So again, focus on the 90s. Hang on a second. Again, guys, not all the audio is available to this. That's why I'm using the transcript. And I think for the purposes of keeping the live up, we're just going to approach it this way. And I'll do my best trying to fill in the blanks. But this is directly from the transcript. You can find it on the Justice Department's website, justice.gov. In fact, what I'll do, I'm going to pop the link in our mod chat, and they will post it for you guys in the general. Okay, thank you. All right. And then the kind of what I called earlier famous friends, but the prominent individuals that were in his life in the 90s. Does any of that stick out in your mind as having received massages? All of them? Maxwell. Henry Ravofsky received a massage. And why does that name stick out in your memory? Because I saw him in a bathrobe at 71st Street, and he had received a massage, he told me. And do you know whether the masseuse was unclothed during that massage? Maxwell, I wouldn't have any idea. Blanche, do you know whether Maxwell, I doubt it. He was like in his 80s. Blanche, say it again. I doubt it. He was like in his 80s. Blanche, okay. So, but do you know, notwithstanding his age, Minsky, sorry. Blanche, say that again. Maxwell, Minsky was another person. Blanche, do you know whether, for example, President Clinton ever received a massage? I don't believe he did. Blanche, and what makes you say you don't believe he did? Well, because I don't. So that's a good question. The time that Easteen and the president were together, the only times I believe, well, obviously they traveled. There was that, the plane. They went on the plane 26 times or whatever. That would be one journey. So they spent time on the plane together, and I don't believe that there was ever a massage on the plane. So that would have been the only time that I think that the president could have ever received one, and he didn't because I was there. Blanche, and you mentioned that early in the very beginning of the conversation. You mentioned President Trump in the early 90s. Yes. What did you observe as far as President Trump and his relationship with you or Mr. Epstein? This part is very telling to me because it's the ego stroke, okay? Well, I just want to say for my relationship with President Trump, and it's a big word, but I just want to say that I met him, or I believe may have met him because of my father in the early 90s. Yep. Okay, said Blanche. Maxwell. So my father liked him very much, and he was loved. Really liked his wife as well because we were both Czechoslovakian. And as far as I'm concerned, President Trump was always very cordial, very kind to me. And I just want to say that I admire his extraordinary achievement in becoming the president, and I like him, and I've always liked him. So that is the sum and substance of my entire relationship with him. Wow. Blanche, what about Mr. Easteen's relationship with him? I don't know how they met, and I don't know how they became friends. I certainly saw them together, and I remember the few times I observed them together, but they are friendly. I mean, they seemed friendly. Was that in social settings or was that in private meetings, said Blanche. I believe only I ever saw them in social settings. I don't recall any private meetings. Did you ever have you ever been to Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach? I have. Blanche, in what time period are you thinking about when you say yes? Maxwell, I don't remember when the president purchased Mar-a-Lago. So from whenever it turned into the club, I went there and I loved going there. Did you go there alone or with Mr. E? Mostly alone. All right. Here's a little forensics game for you guys. Do you guys remember this picture? So that's a picture from that famous video that we all, so this is at Mar-a-Lago, okay? So this is at Mar-a-Lago. There's that famous video of him alluding, whispering something in his ear, and they're pointing to girls, and there's Buffalo Bills cheerleaders are standing over in the corner, and they're laughing. You notice this person back here? I never noticed this before. You notice that person standing right there? Okay? Keep that in mind. Hang on one second. That person. That person right there. So her statement, right? Her statement, this is journalism. I fucking love this shit. I love this shit. Her statement that, did you go there alone or with Mr. E? Mostly alone. So you would think, you would think that you would remember parties. And the times I went there, it was for an event, maybe once. And do you know whether Mr. E went there too? I believe he did, but again, he didn't take me with him. So he would go and, he did from time to time, but he would go alone. I think he would maybe go by himself to the spa. So again, I can't prove that that's her, right? I can't prove it, but let's draw some conclusions here, okay? That's part of the famous picture, right? Here it is again. So that's the photograph. It's a screen grab from the video that we've all seen. That person standing back there, okay? You can tell there's a white collared shirt, right? So then you slide ahead in the photograph. You can see the same white collared shirt. this is J.E. He turned around talking about something. You can tell me if you think that's the same person. Okay? So we know that this picture's been tagged with Donald, Melania, J.E., and Ghislaine, right? So you can draw your own conclusions. So that portion of her testimony right there is a lie or a recollection, whatever that might be. That would be her. So that defeats, or that sort of debunks her own testimony. Did you ever observe, again, I believe he did. We were really where he didn't take me with him. So he would go and, he did from time to time go, but he would go alone. I think he would maybe go by himself to the spa. Blanche, did you ever observe President Trump receive a massage? Maxwell, never. Blanche, did you ever observe, you said that have you seen there's photographs, public photographs of Mr. Epstein and Trump together? Yes, Maxwell said. And there's a photographs of, I think you're in some of the photographs as well, ones we just showed you. Yes, said Maxwell. As well, those appear to be social settings. Maxwell, yes. Maxwell, that's my memory. They were social settings. I don't know if he had whatever the nature of the president's friendship, if you will, or however you want to define what that relationship was. I never witnessed anything. I think they were friendly, like people that are in social settings. I don't think they were close friends, or I certainly never witnessed the president in any of I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So the timeline that she's painting here, basically making claims that she either doesn't recall, or that whenever Epstein went to Mar-a-Lago to parties, he was by himself. So we know, again, I cannot prove. I'm making a stretch. I will admit it is strictly my opinion. It is strictly my opinion that in this photograph, that would be G. Maxwell. And this photograph was taken at a party at Mar-a-Lago. So again, I'm not gonna go on the record here and say that it is absolutely her. I'm drawing that conclusion on my own. It is strictly my opinion. That's the same person. So we can't believe then her testimony at all. Now, can we? No, we can't. So then the web gets a little bit thicker, or tighter, or whatever the expression is. I've got additional sound that I want to play for you guys because it has a lot to do with the relationship. That section that we just went through talked about their relationship. And don't forget, Trump's story has changed numerous times. So here's some reporting done on the timeline of their friendship.
President Trump dismissing the interest now in the Epstein case.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
And distancing himself from the convicted sex offender, as the president's been doing for years.
I had a falling out with him a long time ago.
In the Oval Office in 2019, making clear his feelings on Epstein at that point.
I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I wasn't a fan.
There's no evidence the president is connected to any of Epstein's crimes. We do know the two did have a relationship. The president acknowledging both men crossed paths in Palm Beach back in the 90s. NBC News.
And this part right here that they're playing is actually this scene. This is the famous video that we've all seen together.
News archival video from 1992 shows the president with Epstein at a Mar-a-Lago party alongside cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Mr. Trump greeting guests, including Epstein.
Come on in. Go inside.
The two chatting and gesturing to those in front of them. At one point, it appears Mr. Trump leans over and tells Epstein she's hot. The video, taken more than a decade before Epstein's plea deal, which made him register as a sex offender in Florida. Between 1993 and 1997, flight logs, released in the trial of Epstein's now convicted associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, show Mr. Trump flew on Epstein's plane multiple times. In 2002, Mr. Trump told New York Magazine, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with." Adding, "It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Epstein claiming to author Michael Wolff in 2017 that the two men were at one time very close.
Donald's closest friend.
The quote is, I was Donald's closest friend for 10 years.
There's no other evidence they were that friendly, and the two ended up having a falling out in 2004, according to people who spoke with the Washington Post, over competition for an oceanfront property in Florida. The president has confirmed the friendship ended, though he didn't specify why.
The reason doesn't make any difference, frankly.
So this is from July of 2019, this sound here.
Of course, President Trump is not the only powerful person who spent time with Epstein. Former President Bill Clinton, former VP Al Gore, Bill Gates, all named in court documents as being connected to Epstein. There's been no evidence that any of these people, including President Trump, have been involved in Epstein's crimes, and they've denied any wrongdoing, all as the Epstein case is back in the spotlight.
I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, well, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
We thank you. Okay. So part of this, right, is part of the lies on top of the lies on top of the lies. And it's an important detail, is the specifics around how their relationship ended. So I was curious because there's been numerous statements made by the president as to why it was initially a real estate deal. So I kind of like, all right, well, what are the stories here? Like, why did when did the relationship end? I want to know when it happened. Let me see if I can find that. I pulled it up here. Hold on a second. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Okay, hang on one second. Okay. There is no, from all the research, there is no, I've got reporting from Snopes, I've got reporting from Page Six, I've got reporting from the Daily Beast, from the Independent, from Fox, from ABC. So it's a combination of things, and it's all over the map. Okay. There's not one clean, agreed upon reason. The best documented break in their friendship came in late 2007 when Trump revoked Epstein's Mar-a-Lago membership after an incident involving a member's teenage daughter. Club records show Epstein's account was closed that October, and then Page Six reported at the time that he was not allowed back, Epstein being denied and or banned. Okay? What Trump himself has said and how the story has shifted. You can call this conspiracies if you want, Phil, but I'm only reporting on the information. Everybody, please keep tapping and sharing. Let's see if we can get to 500K, guys. I appreciate y'all. 2002, before the break, Trump called Epstein a terrific guy who likes beautiful women, many of them on the younger side, while they were still socializing in New York and Palm Beach. At around the same time, Epstein referred to Trump as his closest friend for 10 years. July 2019. Asked about Epstein after his arrest, Trump said he'd had a falling out maybe 15 years earlier and was not a fan, but didn't give a reason. That timing points back to 2004. 2020, when a reporter noted Epstein's Mar-a-Lago ties, Trump claimed Epstein had never been a member. Local reporting in a later book showed he was in fact a member until October of 2007. In July of 2025, Trump added a new rationale that he banned Epstein because he stole young women who worked the Mar-a-Lago spa, naming Victoria Dufresne, and called Epstein persona non grata. Other explanations that have been out there. Real estate fraud, 2004. I should say real estate feud. Washington Post reported that the relationship soured in a high-profile bidding war for a Palm Beach mansion that Trump won, an alternate end of the friendship story often cited by Trump associates. So the argument has always been their relationship ended because of this real estate deal. And then we've seen other little bits thrown out there because that didn't match up based on timing, based on paper trails, etc. In 2007, ban. There's a different trigger now connected to that. Multiple accounts, books, reporting summarized by PolitiFact, PBS, and others say the break was in 2007 and tied to Epstein's behaving inappropriately toward a member's teenage daughter, consistent with the membership records, but a different reason than Trump gave in 2025 poaching his staff. Epstein's denial. In 2007, Epstein told Page Six he hadn't been banned and had been invited to an event, another wrinkle in the record. Bottom line, timeline most supported by documents is the friendship through the early 2000s. Membership ends October 2007 after an incident at Mar-a-Lago. Trump's explanations have changed. First, it was no reason, not a fan in 2019, never a member in 2020, stole workers, including Dufresne, in 2025, and that doesn't square with the 2007 membership records or the 2004 real estate feud narrative touted by his allies. So I was processing this, and it's just like, how do I want to say this? It's one lie on top. Somewhere in there is an element of the truth. Somewhere in there. But we have paper, right? We've got, thank you very much. We have the paper. We have the timeline. We have the consistently the inconsistent stories, but consistently changing the stories. So I don't know where any of that goes. And again, from the testimony of Maxwell, the perjury, the things that she said, her lies specifically, I just want to make sure I get those again, because I think it's really, really important. What she claimed what she was accused of from a perjury perspective. Did J.E. have a scheme to recruit underage girls for massages? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to play sound for you now. This is going to be trigger warnings. My apologies in advance, but it's necessary to do this. Let me see if I can find it. Everybody, please keep tapping and sharing. I appreciate y'all very, very much. Okay. I'm not going to play that one. That's a little bit too graphic. I want to make sure I'm protecting as many people as I can here. Remember what we just went through, okay? The timeline of the nuances. I'm not going to even say nuances. The contradictions in the timeline. Here's Mr. Trump most recently on the topic of when the relationship ended and why.
For years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times.
So that part right there is really interesting, because the flight records that he's referring to, 26 trips to the island by Clinton, also include Trump. So you can't have it both ways, okay?
I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. Wow. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
In one of my very good moments, I didn't have the privilege of going to the island. Let's keep in mind here that a lot of the criminality was not always at the island. The assaults alleged by many of these young women connected to this case happened in New York, or happened at Mar-a-Lago, or happened elsewhere. So it's one lie on top of lies on top of lies. All right, so I'm going to get into the sound now a little bit from witness testimonies and witness statements. I think it's really crucial that we cover this. I'll be careful. I just want to make sure that we're addressing this the right way and giving it the attention that it deserves. So this is these are you're going to hear from Maria Farmer, who was part of the recruiting, and she's being interviewed by Jen Psaki. I will do my best to try to get through this, guys. Everybody keep tapping like crazy, please. Appreciate y'all very, very much. All right, here you go.
Convicted child sex abuser Ghislaine Maxwell is not the victim here. The real victims, the survivors, are people like Jane. Now, we don't know Jane's full name, but we know that Jane was 14 years old when she met Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell at a youth camp in Michigan. Here's what the story said, quote, Epstein first abused Jane when she was 14. Jane said that there were sexual encounters with Epstein for the next 3 years, around every 2 weeks. Sometimes Maxwell was in the room during this sexual abuse. There were occasions when Maxwell touched.
That contradicts her testimony that she gave to Todd Blanche last week. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. Okay?
Jane's breasts. Jane is a real survivor. So is Carolyn, who testified that she went to Epstein's home over 100 times from age 14 to 18, where she was told to massage Jeffrey Epstein. Carolyn said that at the age of 14, before one of the massages, Maxwell came in and felt my boobs and my hips and my buttocks and said that I had a great body for Mr. Epstein and his friends. And then there's Maria Farmer. Unlike some of Epstein's other victims, Maria Farmer was 25 years old when she says Epstein assaulted her, though her younger sister, who also says she was abused by Epstein, was a minor. Maria Farmer was an employee of Jeffrey Epstein's at the time. She said that in 1996, she was at the estate of Victoria's Secret CEO Leslie Wexner with Epstein and Maxwell. She says that Epstein and Maxwell violently groped her until she fled the room and barricaded herself in another part of the building. And during her time in Epstein's orbit, Maria Farmer says she also encountered Donald Trump. She told the New York Times that in 1995, quote, late one night, Mr. Epstein unexpectedly called her to his offices in a luxury building in Manhattan. She arrived in running shorts. Mr. Trump then arrived wearing a business suit and started to hover over her. Ms. Farmer said she recalled feeling scared as Mr. Trump stared at her bare legs. Then Mr. Epstein entered the room and she recalled him saying to Mr. Trump, no, she's not here for you. The two men left the room and Ms. Farmer said she could hear Mr. Trump commenting that he thought Ms. Farmer was 16 years old. Joining me now is Maria Farmer, along with her attorney, Jennifer Freeman. And before we get started, I just want to say to you, Maria, I think it is incredibly courageous.
Real quick, just remember the elements from the transcript that I read to you, okay, and even some of the audio. Maxwell denies ever doing anything. In fact, even the witness that testified at her trial said that it didn't happen. Okay, that did not happen. So here's where we're at, right? You've got the right attempting to paint Maxwell as a victim. Greg Kelly on Newsmax, I think, said she might be a victim in this. She might be a victim in this, right? Now we've got Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, "Oh, see, Ghislaine Maxwell said that Trump wasn't involved." Notice in her statement, in her X tweet, that she didn't say that Maxwell said the same thing about Bill Clinton. So here we are. We've got all these women that have testified. All these women who've said the same thing in the same way in which Maxwell recruited them. She recruited other girls as well. Girls. Okay? Girls. And the argument that the right is attempting to make is that because Ghislaine Maxwell said that Trump did nothing inappropriate, the expectation is they're going to believe her. Okay?
Yes, that you are continuing to tell your story in a very, very public way. It cannot be easy, and I'm very grateful for you being here with us tonight. So let me start just there, Maria.
Thank you, Jen, for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let me start by asking you, I mean, this nightmare has followed you for a very, very long time. I mean, decades. And I'm sure that Jeffrey Epstein's reemergence, I mean, all over the news has been incredibly painful. How are you? How are you doing? Yes. How are you digesting all of this?
Thank you for asking that. That's very thoughtful because a lot of people aren't aware of every time his picture is on one of their podcasts or, and I've asked several people, can you please not just flash his picture everywhere or Maxwell's and not glamorize them? But thank you for asking that because a lot of people aren't aware that re-traumatizes victims every time we have to see his face. And it's a case that has just never gone away. It just won't go away. And I need your audience to understand that, I reported this almost 3 decades ago. So a lot of people will say, oh, why is she just coming forward now? And they think it's political. And it's not. It's something I've been working on pretty much. I dedicated all of my youth to this. And so I'm doing it not just for me, but for the victims who are now deceased and the victims that are very much alive. And I want to get justice for all of them. I feel that for my little sister to have gone through what she went through and to have had to testify against Maxwell and then have to suffer, and there are others that I love very much who are suffering this right now about Maxwell. It's completely unacceptable. Why would Maxwell be given a voice when she is a convicted pedophile?
Hi, I'm Andy.
It's a really good point. I mean, again, the conflict that we have now. Let me just do this real quick. There's commercials in this thing. The conflict that we're going to have is exactly this. And I just watching the comments scrolling by. But well, good. I don't know how to say this. And again, trigger warnings. And I appreciate you all hanging in there. I know that this has got to be disturbing to many, many people, especially so many women have been subjected and girls have been subjected to abuse. And I apologize, but I think this is necessary for us to tell the story because we want to hear the voices of the victims. We cannot let this story die, friends. We cannot let this story die. We have got to remind people that there are victims and survivors in this case. People who are just the worst crimes imaginable. And the person who testified, who got a sweetheart deal, is now no longer with us. The person who was his madam, his recruiter, his participant in these horrible crimes against girls and young women, mostly girls, is got moved from the facility that she was in that was already minimum security to a fucking country club. To a fucking country club that she should have never been moved to because of her status as an offender. There was no waivers written, none of it. And she gets to sit down with Donald Trump's former personal lawyer. An unprecedented action. Unprecedented action. Just keep that in mind.
Very difficult, and I appreciate the question. I appreciate you asking.
Of course, and I think we're all grateful for you having the courage to be here and tell your story and be out there. And let me ask you, because this is one of the reasons I think it's so important to hear from people like you who are so courageous. I mean, you and your sister, as you just referenced, Annie, were the first survivors to come forward and try to tell the authorities about what Epstein and his associates were doing. You first went to the NYPD in 1996, then the FBI. You said you felt like you weren't taken seriously. Right. You've repeated that. You now
dismissed.
You were, and you were.
Just real quick. There's a comment here, and this tells you a lot, guys. There's a comment in the chat that says, Democrats care more about children than our country being invaded by immigrants. Trump 2028. Again, Democrats care more about children than our country being invaded by immigrants. Trump 2028. Cool. That's nice. At least they're honest, exactly.
You are now suing the federal government, accusing it of negligence and failing to protect victims of sexual assault. And I just wanted our viewers to be aware of all of that and all the time you've spent on this and trying to get this story told. Tell us more about the story you told to the police.
Well, when I called, I told them I was reporting kind of an international pedophile, and I called it child pornography ring because they didn't call it.
F1 in the chat, guys. I'm going to pause real quick. I'm sorry to have to do this to you guys, but it's necessary. I want to keep the live up today.
TikTok. It is our intention during these live broadcasts to only provide fact-based information to the absolute best of our ability. We strive to never spread misinformation or to platform those that do. Opinions of our guests or commenters are theirs and theirs alone and do not reflect those of the host. Hate speech is not allowed, and we are diligent about policing it. This platform is for educational purposes only. We now return you to our regularly scheduled pandemonium, already in progress.
That part is one of the most important parts to me because some photographs that were personal photographs of mine that I used for working from, not to copy exactly, but they were anatomy studies for my art. And I was doing these series of paintings for the movie As Good As It Gets. This wasn't for me. It wasn't for Epstein. It was actually for a major producer. And because of being, held captive, I didn't get to finish that. But basically, those photographs are a permanent thing that Ghislaine Maxwell stole from the basement at Leslie Wexner's guest house. And those photographs are a permanent way that my sisters are being abused and that I'm being abused. And so when I told the federal government, I said, this really frightens me because I believe if they did this to us, they're doing it to everyone. And I see a lot of children children coming in allegedly for Victoria's Secret modeling or for modeling for Katie Ford. You know, they had all these model scouts around them, Trump, all these people, and they were allegedly auditioning models. But for Victoria's Secret, the girls didn't have any breasts. I didn't understand. And so basically, it's been very an arduous journey over 29 years of just trying to get people to hear me. So I'm so grateful that you're bringing attention to this evening.
Nope.
One of the great challenges.
Okay, so that's Maria Farmer, right? And she is one of the many people that has identified not only the predatory behavior of JE, but also other people involved and connected to this kind of thing. It does. I know the audio turns my stomach as well. I agree. We have to get through it. So there's a couple, a little bit more sound bites that I want to play for you guys as well from other people that are also victims in this. It is a difficult story to cover, but we are, and I'm going to do I appreciate you all having faith in me to try to get through this. It's just too important not to. I don't want to. How do I want to say this? I'm not here to try to revisit trauma. I'm not doing that. I'm here for people who want to get through the truth of what we know here. More, I should say, to blow or debunk the lies that have been told about this. That's the most important part. I'm going to turn now because I was reminded about something. We've played the sound from Howard Stern. We've talked about that whole kind of thing and about his predatory behavior on Howard Stern. There's a moment on Don Imus as well, because he used to go on Don Imus's radio show from back in the 80s as well. And this is another bit of just another look inside the mind of our president. Here's another clip.
Would you like to be the husband of the wife that was, playing around with a 14-year-old kid? Unbelievable. By the way, did you see what you look like?
It's not bad.
Not bad? Yeah, I'd say so.
No. Well,
I know a lot of guys are trying to date her right now, Don.
Well, I don't know what your teachers looked like when you were in school, but
none of them look like that, believe me. So do you think this 14-year-old kid is scarred forever? He might have put the move on her. It might have given him confidence, actually.
I don't even know what to say about that one. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to our the sound that we were playing. There's more to the story. We'll get through it. Where is it? It just turns my stomach. It just really does.
And we want you to be able to tell all the aspects of your story that it's so important for people to understand. And it wasn't you didn't only go to the FBI and the police back in the 90s. You also had an interview with agents in 2006. And one of our legal correspondents, Lisa Rubin, was able to obtain the FBI's notes from that interview. I'm going to showing some of them right there on the screen. There are a ton of redactions in these notes, as you can see. And I know this was some time ago, but do you remember what you spoke to them about during this interview and what details you shared with them during this interview?
Yes. Yeah, so basically I want to make it really clear because people don't understand this. My little sister was only 16 and she didn't go to the FBI in 96. I did that. And I protected my family because I didn't want anyone to know how dangerous this was. And so basically after 1996, they literally just hung up and I heard nothing for 10 years. And then I got a knock on the door. I was in the woods of North Carolina and there were these two agents standing there. And Agent Nesbitt Kirkendall said, we're here about your 1996 FBI report. And I was kind of shocked, and it's because I have so much trauma. I was kind of making jokes and trying to give them orange juice and cookies and, just make light of it. And it's so traumatic. Like my sister was selling like products to them. You know, we didn't know what to do with the FBI. We told them the entire story of what occurred with Ghislaine Maxwell being a sexual predator and predating children. She used to say, I need to go get the nubiles at 3:00 because the children were getting out of school. And of course, I would ask to quit. And I said, what is this? And she said, no. They're just models for Victoria's Secret, Maria. Just calm down, you know? So basically, there was a lot of gaslighting that occurred. But in 2006, they hunted me down. And they asked me to testify in the federal trial in Florida. And then they gave the sweetheart deal. And so I never testified. And then when it came time to testify in this trial, I actually was in ICU and chemotherapy. And a lot of people say she didn't even get to testify. And I'm like, because I was incapacitated. But my sister did testify and my mother. And our stories have never changed. They're very credible.
Nubiles. And again, the statement that she made about how they were told that they were Victoria's Secret's models. I don't think any of us have ever seen a Victoria's Secret model who was flat-chested and that were nubiles. Just let's be real.
Of course you do. And I didn't realize about your health journey too. You've been through a tremendous amount. You've also talked about a night in 1995 when you were at Jeffrey Epstein's office and Donald Trump came by and made a lewd comment, and then you...
Lat. They would say that. It's been over 15 years ago. He's not like that anymore. A man can change his ways. Lat. I want you to think about what you just said. I want you to think about what you're listening to today. I want you to think about the numerous lies that Mr. Trump has told over and over and over and over and over again about this. And then ask yourself that question again. That's so unfortunate. Wow.
Overheard Epstein say to him, she's not for you. And we just told this story because you've told it publicly before.
Right.
And in response to that, and I want to ask you about that, but I just wanted to note that in response to that, a White House spokesperson responded saying, this is recycled old fake news of the highest order that was already peddled more than 6 years, concocted by Democrats and the liberal media, just like they did with the Russiagate scandal, which was just proven today. The president was never in his office. The fact is that the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep. There is a lot packed in there, similar themes we've seen in other statements, I will say, but it's about you. What is your response to that?
Right. So, first of all, that's so insulting and disingenuous because I reported this in 1996. And I have to say, like, Donald Trump was a Democrat when I reported him. So him saying that this was a Republican thing, this is not a partisan thing. This is pedophilia.
My bad, Lat. My apologies. I don't want to call out Lat. It's difficult these days. I owe you an apology, Lat. Seems like you were saying this is the excuse that MAGA has made. My apologies. Everybody, let's go. Hearts in the chat for Lat. My apologies on that. My apologies.
Anyone can be a pedophile. It's literally, unfortunately, it just happens to be a lot of Republicans, and that's a fact. And those same Republicans want to entertain Ghislaine Maxwell, like Tim Burchett wants to entertain her and flash her around and act like we victims should not be heard from. He didn't want to speak to me. He wanted to speak to Ghislaine and give her a voice and an audience. And my little sister is one of her victims, and so am I. So this is so damaging. And yes, I'm fighting 2 cancers, so I would like to be able to retire and have my FBI reports so that I can help bring accountability to everyone. It's not just me. I have the weight of all the young women on my shoulders right now.
You certainly do. And I am, again, grateful for you being here. We have to sneak in a very quick break. I have more questions for you. Okay. I hope you don't mind sticking around. Okay. Both you and Jennifer, thank you so much. We'll be.
Okay. Here's some additional testimony or an additional statement from another person connected. Specifically, this is about Maxwell, right? This is about Maxwell specifically. Here's another person. Again, a person, hold on a second.
It's almost over.
Don't need the commercial. Apparently, the president's got so many things to do. He signed an executive order on flag desecration, which is protected by the Constitution, by the First Amendment, and cashless bail. Wow, we have so many important things to do, and that's what we're focused on. Cool. It's good to know. Appreciate you, traitor, predator. Hang on one second, guys. It's queuing up. It's queuing.
Let's go places.
I think that, one thing I think it's important people understand.
This is Annie Farmer. This is the younger sister of Maria Farmer that we were just listening to, okay?
And is that this chaotic process that's been unfolding has a real cost for survivors. A central part of trauma is a feeling of a lack of control, and that has certainly been triggered here. These meetings, even this, prison transfer was something I expected we would learn about, prior to learning about it in the news. And unfortunately, that's not how it has unfolded. Honestly, just even learning that the DOJ would be meeting with her was extremely disturbing. This is someone who has been convicted of sex trafficking, by a jury. She not only procured girls and young women for Epstein, but she also participated in the abuse of minors. The rumors that followed about a possible commutation or pardon, very upsetting. And then with this prison transfer, I think it again feels like she is getting preferential treatment. That sounds like something that's unprecedented, and it's really worrying to us about what might be coming next.
Well, one of the things she was accused of lying about involved you, and at trial, just so everyone remembers, your mom actually testified that when you went to the ranch in New Mexico in 1996, that Jeffrey Epstein had promised your mom you were going on a retreat and that there were dozens of other girls who were going to be there, that Ghislaine Maxwell was his wife. And then you got there and you were the only one. I should know people who are on the far right describing Ghislaine Maxwell as the victim here.
Yeah, I have seen that as well. I think this attempt to sort of rehab her image in order to potentially, make some sort of commutation more palatable. But I've actually felt, really appreciative of the public's response to that. It feels like that campaign is not working. People recognize that she's a predator, not a victim. And I think that any additional lessening of sentence or negotiation will really be met with a lot of outrage and seen as a sign of some guilt.
If the president's not ruling it out, a pardon, and he just emphasizes that he has the ability to do so, I wonder what you would want to say to him about even considering that.
Yeah, I just would want him to know it would be devastating for the victims of Epstein and Maxwell. This was the one person who was held accountable for these crimes, and she was held accountable for her crimes, not for someone else's, but for the ones that she committed.
Annie Farmer, Maria Farmer, and just as a reminder, friends, if I can find that again, what Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of was conspiracy to entice minors to travel to engage in schmex acts, conspiracy to transport minors to participate in schmex acts, transporting a minor to participate in schmex acts, trafficking conspiracy, schmex trafficking conspiracy, and schmex trafficking of a minor. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said, today's sentence holds Ms. Maxwell accountable for perpetrating heinous crimes against children. This sentence sends a strong message that no one is above the law and it is never too late for justice. We again express our gratitude to Epstein and Maxwell's victims and survivors for their courage in coming forward and testifying at trial and in sharing their stories as part of today's sentencing. According to allegations and the indictment, court documents, and evidence presented at trial, from at least 1994 up to including in or about 2004, Maxwell assisted, facilitated, and participated in Epstein's abuse of minor girls by, among other things, helping him to recruit, groom, and ultimately abuse victims known to Maxwell and Epstein's to be under the age of 18. The victims were as young as 14 years old when they were groomed and abused by Maxwell and Epstein, both of whom knew their victims were in fact minors. As a part and in furtherance of their scheme to abuse minor victims, Maxwell and Epstein enticed and caused minor victims to travel to ease residents in different states, which Maxwell knew and intended would result in their grooming for and subjection to sexual abuse. She enticed and groomed minor girls to be abused in multiple ways. She attempted to befriend certain victims by asking them about their lives, their schools, their families, and taking them to the movies or on shopping trips. She acclimated victims to Epstein's conduct simply by being present for victim interactions with him, which put victims at ease by providing the assurance and comfort of an adult woman who seemingly approved of his behavior. Additionally, he offered to help some victims by paying for travel and or educational opportunities, and she encouraged certain victims to accept his assistance. As a result, the victims were made to feel indebted and believed that she and he were trying to help them. She also normalized and facilitated the abuse for a victim by discussing topics, undressing in front of them, and being present when the victim was undressed and encouraging the victim to massage him. As she and he intended, these grooming behaviors left minor victims vulnerable and susceptible to abuse by him. She was then present or for certain encounters between minor victims and he, such as interactions where a minor victim was undressed, and ultimately was present for acts perpetrated by him on other minor victims. That abuse included massaging, during which a minor victim was fully or partially nude, as well as group massages or for him involving a minor victim where she was present, she being Maxwell. In some instances, Maxwell participated in the abuse herself. So, that is the person we're talking about. That is the person who the right is attempting to paint as a victim. That is the person now that the right is saying, because she said in her statements, don't forget, she was also accused of perjury on multiple occasions. Now, again, you know what she's done, according to the witnesses, and she was sentenced for her crimes. Okay? These are the questions that she was asked, and this is how they were going to charge her with perjury. Question: did J.E. have a scheme to recruit underage girls for sexual massage? Answer: I don't know what you're talking about. Question: list all the people under the age of 18 that you interacted with at any of J.E.'s properties. I'm not aware of anybody other than the plaintiff, except for the nubiles that she recruited, right? On July 22nd, 2016, during a deposition, denied knowing about any toys and or devices, sexual toys and or devices in his Palm Beach house. No, not that I could recall. Claimed that she wasn't aware of E having any activities with anyone when she was with him other than herself. She said that she had, quote, not given anyone a massage, including him and the minor victim. That is my testimony. I never gave minor victim a massage. So, I don't know what else there is to say about that. I don't know. I have a couple of guests here. So, Maz, can you check the guests, please? I don't know if the timing is right. All right. I'm going to play, is this some... Okay. There's apparently some words from the twice impeached, four-time indicted. It's actually, yeah. I'll play this for you.
I'm thinking about, when I have some, it would be good to work together. So I'm thinking about, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there. I made the statement that next should be Chicago because, as you all know, Chicago is a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person. And it would be good to work together. So I'm thinking about... I'm
sorry, what was that? You're a smart person? I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person. Okay, let's see.
So we have the worst education almost in the large world, the world that people know about.
Yeah, then there's this one too.
China has total respect for Donald Trump and for Donald Trump's very, very large brain.
And then there's this one.
I know words. I have the best words. But there's no better word than stupid.
Yeah. I don't know where this is going to go. I really don't know. If I was to put on the spot, I would say that she gets pardoned and then sent someplace, Russia or someplace where she's out of the United States press's eye. It's done in the middle of the night. Those are my guesses. Those are my guesses. I don't know. We'll see. That'd be my guess, though. Dionysus, how are you?
How's it going, brother? Hey, so
Fine,
just seen on Trump's latest little news conference he's having right now, he just gave Pete Hegseth an executive order where he can go handpick personally troops out of the National Guard to create special units to guard Washington, D.C. He just signed it literally minutes ago. If anybody's familiar with Knights of the Golden Circle and their ideology, I suggest you get yourself familiar with it. That is who Pete Hegseth is, like, the general of. The person above him is going to be the General Flynn there. Roger Flynn is also involved with the Heritage Foundation and all of them. This is good and serious. These people, Donald Trump actually is a horrible buffer for us right now between some radicalized, spiritually psychosed individuals who think this is literally the end of times, Book of Revelations, weird stuff going on. I'm not being fear-mongering. Proper preparation prevents piss-poor performance, and spreading awareness instead of fearness is what we're here to do. So just properly prepare people. Find those close to you who are like-minded, and just do the next right thing. It's going to get pretty serious. These people aren't going to let go of power. It's not going to be that simple with courts and voting and
elections
and elections. Yeah. It's going to be like, luckily pop culture has prepared us with this, with some predictive programming. And if you want some very relevant and new predictive programming that might get you kind of prepared for what's going to happen, like that movie Civil War is pretty on point. There's going to be a Western alliance. There's going to be a Northeast alliance. There's going to be alliances, and that's what we got to get on the ground and start making those alliances.
Let's be careful. Let's be careful with that, brother. Just because of TikTok speak.
I mean legitimate, lawful, legal, law-abiding alliances of mutual aid networks is really what I'm talking about. You can't build an army, so to speak, without being able to feed and house and clothe that army. So that is the most important thing to build our foundation out of. All these other things about getting protesting, yeah, it's great. It's really the only thing protesting is good for is you meet a whole bunch of other like-minded individuals to meet elsewhere. And that's all that should really all be used for. But thanks for letting me up. I just wanted to break that news. It just happened.
I appreciate that, man.
And I wanted to let you guys know, proper preparation.
I appreciate that, brother. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you very much. See you later. Yeah. I'm rarely speechless, unless I get embarrassed or if I'm blushing. But I don't know what to say. The thing is, guys, is that like I said to you before, I don't want I've been guilty of this myself by saying these are just distractions. They are not distractions. This is not normal. This is autocracy. This is authoritarianism. This is fascism in the United States of America. Okay, this is what this is. He's right. These are warriors of God. They believe this is Revelations, end of days, whatever that might be. I personally think a lot of this, though, is connected to the fact that Trump's going to have to answer for his crimes, connected to JE. I don't know. What was that? Who can't get in the comment? I'm here for the long run. Steve wouldn't let me in the comment. Exactly. That's true. You're right, Sam. You're out. This just goes to show all of us the measures to which people will go. There is money involved, billions, if not trillions of dollars. There is an element that is unknown to us, whatever that might be. We know that there's no way you would be as desperate as they are attempting to. Oh, I could kick you out. I won't though. Attempting to distract, attempting to pivot away from this conversation, the conversation connecting him to the horrible crimes against children. Because even the warriors of God, many of them would stop. We know that there was reporting recently of 47% of Republicans surveyed in this poll from this company called Ledger. 47% of Republicans surveyed said that even if he was incriminated with evidence in connections to JE, even more evidence than we have now, they would still support him. So it's a fight. It is actually a fight. Oh, man, it's crazy. I don't know. It's crazy. Hey, Matt. Matt, are you there? Matt 420, are you there? Hey, Matt, are you there?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, man. I didn't mean to. You can request again if you want to come back up. No problem. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, good morning. A couple things. I didn't hear anything that you read that would tell me that she somehow earned a vacation in a country club. Like nothing. Like
agreed.
Right. So the only purpose in that was the deal. Like you could surmise the deal was you come out, you say it's all fake, you say it's nothing happened, nothing to see here, backing us up, and we'll move you to the country club. And then when everything quiets down, we'll commute your sentence. We'll pardon you.
Pretty much.
Danny Cook was reading the victim impact statements, and she's going through all the court documents, and she actually came across a couple court documents that we hadn't even known about before. But she made a good point, and she was like, well, Donald Trump has to exonerate Ghislaine Maxwell because the same evidence that was used to convict her also implicates him, like Katie Johnson's testimony and some other things, right? And so there's no way that he can't do exactly what he's doing. Like we could have predicted all this because of the way the court case went and everything. So and I had this. You're right. I had this other theory overnight tonight. It would be a justifiable reason for him to resign the presidency and ask J.D. Vance for a pardon. Yeah.
So that he could avoid prosecution.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're right. And get the religious thing. It just reminded me. I just saw a video by Hawk on YouTube. I don't know if you know that creator, but
I know Hawk.
Yeah. So he was highlighting a report where some evangelicals have stopped going to church because they only see Trump as their Lord and Savior. He's the new Lord and Savior. And I have been saying this for years, that this was going to happen, that they were going to transfer their worship of God to Trump because of the way that they hold him up as this Messiah returned. And it's so, to your point, it's so dangerous. It makes you feel crazy, It does. It makes you feel crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of that's by design too. Don't forget, a lot of it is by design. While they're ripping all of us off, why we have reporting about Doge actually costing us money as opposed to them finding any money and then sending rebates. We know that the president has just invested personally in mutual bonds to the tune of $100 million and other things where he's going to be benefiting financially. There's an investment that the government has literally just made in Intel. Hello, socialism. So, everything that we said was going to happen is happening. Everything.
I know. We need to get our own hats. We need to get, the Democrats were right about everything. We need our own hat, but for us, it'll actually be true.
Yeah, or we could get this one too. This is a good one as well. Make lying wrong again.
Oh, love it. Yep. Make lying wrong again. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, but
thanks for being here.
Yep,
I appreciate
good
you.
talking to you.
You too. See you later. It's not going to stop until we stop it. So if there's anybody that's active duty that's out there, I would encourage you to remember your oath. I would encourage you to recall what the Universal Code of Military Justice is and what it is, and would remind you that you took an oath to the Constitution of the United States, not to the office, not to a man, not to an individual, not to a person. You took not to an office. You took an oath to the Constitution to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I would ask you that when you took that oath, you did it for a particular reason, to stand for your country, to believe in, to stand for what you believe the country means to you. And your oath is officially to the Constitution. Because this is now a fight. If what is true is, and I have no reason to doubt Dionysus, but if that is the case, then walling off the Capitol, right? Because they understand what's at stake. You don't attempt to manipulate the laws in regard to how elections are to be administered and or to illegally change district lines unless you can't win the election. And the co-opting of the bullshit argument the right wants to use now is that Texas is the one that California is the one that's violating the law, when it's actually Texas that's doing it. It is one big gaslight. It's one big gaslight. I don't even know how to. Hush puppy, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you? I just
fine,
want
to what's on your mind?
I just want to let everybody know that he just signed a executive order for flag burning. You get 1 year
to outlaw. Yeah, he said that before. It's an executive order. It's not law. It's an executive order.
Oh, okay. That's it.
Yep.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thanks for being here, Hush puppy. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Again, the Supreme Court has already ruled that it's expressing your own individual rights to protest. It's freedom of speech. It's protections. Hi, Beverly. How are you today?
I'm good. I just have a couple of things really quick. I'm a veteran, and
thank you for your service.
You're welcome. It just really, really disturbs me to see that our military are active duty right now, and even the National Guard are literally going along with this. I mean, I don't understand why there's not even some of them, just saying like this is wrong. Like, this is wrong. I'm not doing this. I can't do this. You know what I mean? I don't understand.
Maybe there are. You know what I mean, Beverly? Maybe there are. They're obviously not going to report on that. They're not going to report on that. They're not going to. The Department of Defense, if anybody within the structure, your brothers and sisters in arms, if any of them have said that's enough, I'm done. I believe that this is an unlawful order. I don't think they're going to report on that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want that to get out in the public.
Right. And I hope, I guess I can only hope that that's the case, that there are people that are dissenting and saying, I'm not going to go along with this. And I guess my other struggle here is, I've been married for 25 years, and I would say sadly, I mean, I have a good relationship, but sadly we are opposite ends of this political spectrum. And it's really difficult. In fact, someone said to me, I don't know how you're not divorced, because, he truly is, Fox News is the only thing he follows, and everything that he talks about is, it's just all MAGA. And we basically try not to have conversations about it, but it's hard. It's difficult because when I say to him, like, I don't understand this, it's almost like because certain things don't impact him personally, like right now, there's certain things that don't impact him on a personal level. It's like, okay. And even when I try to explain to him things like these Medicaid cuts and SNAP cuts and things that overall will impact. We live in a very rural area, in upstate New York, close to the Canadian border. Hospitals and nursing homes and everything, these community health clinics will absolutely be devastated, and that will impact. It's so hard to get through. I don't know how to get through. I wish and until it happens, right? It's like sad.
Yeah, we're not far from one another. I'm in northern Vermont, so we're not far from one another, actually.
Right.
You're right. And I think you bring up a really good point. And I guess the question is, who's going to honor the oath? Ultimately, I mean, you know what you took an oath to. You didn't take an oath to the office. You took an oath to the Constitution. Right. You didn't take it to a man or a woman or anybody. You took it to the Constitution. And there is the UCMJ. And I guess that's our hope that members of because there are more of us than there are of them, meaning there are more civilians than there are active duty and veterans. But we don't want it to come to that. I'm just afraid that it might.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, anyway, I just wanted to point out those couple things, and I appreciate your content.
Thank you.
I follow you. Been following you along, and I do realize that you're not too far from me. I'm just a few hours from Vermont. So anyway, thanks again for putting out the facts. Between you and Felice, I love it when you're just getting, the real facts out there and hopefully changing some people's minds about what's going on. So we're in this. We're in it till the end, right?
We are indeed. I appreciate you saying that again. Thank you for your service again, Beverly. Thank you very much. Be safe out there.
Thanks.
All right. Take care.
You.
All right. Bye. Bye. Yeah. Let me just check a couple of things here. Hang tight. Heather, thank you so much for your kindness on Venmo. I appreciate you so very much. You're very sweet. Thank you very much. It's rough, right? It's a rough thing. None of us wants. This is not what any of us signed up for. And the part that gets me the most, right? It's the, it would be one thing if, we were just immersed in just horrible policies. That's bad enough. Like if we just immersed in horrible policies and, more tax cuts for the rich and all the things that we know about the political side, right? This is not political. This is just, it's amoral for one. It's everything that the GOP is doing currently to protect a group of people who are criminals. Just to show, the victims of violence in our country, especially children who've been assaulted, to basically, you send the deputy AG to talk to a woman that has been convicted of some of the most horrible crimes there is, giving them, I'm not going to say credibility, but almost credibility. Like we're going to use Department of Justice taxpayer dollars, your taxpayer dollars, for the deputy AG to go and speak to a person who should rot in fucking jail or under it. They get moved to a fucking country club. They go on the record. They lie in their fucking testimony. They lie. They flat out lie. Marjorie Taylor Greene. See? He cleared President Trump. He did nothing wrong. And we're going to believe her? The person who literally perjured herself? I went through it. I played it for you. That's what she did. She got convicted of. These are the victim statements, the survivor statements. So do we not believe them? We're going to believe her? We're going to believe her? Really? Really? That's how far we have fallen? That we're going to believe her? I'm stunned. I'm no longer surprised. The stunning is just how depraved and diabolical this is. Under the cover of their faith. The warriors for God, so to speak. Gilead, Handmaid's Tale. Sadly, those don't necessarily include black women. I'm glad. another example of racism. Like, I don't even know what to say anymore. You know, I don't even know what to say. We're in this environment now where people are making excuses and attempting to justify defending one of the most despicable human beings on the earth. She's the only one left to be able to take accountability for the crimes that she committed. She's the only one left. If she gets away with this and she gets pardoned or her sentence is commuted, nobody else. That's it. It's game over. That's it. Then that tells us who we are as a nation. It tells us who we are. We can no longer talk about all the great things. Now, I'm a half glass kind of full kind of person. I'm always going to try to find the best in everything, but I don't know what's left, right? I don't. You know, I wanted to be able to celebrate this week a little bit. It's a big deal in our family. We've got first day of school tomorrow. We've got rehearsals for the fall musical that start on Wednesday. The auditions are on Wednesday, of which I'm directing. It's a great opportunity. This is going to be in my mind. You know, I can't get it out of my head that we listen to survivor testimony. We go through the lie on top of lie on top of lie on top of lie that the people in this circle are saying to defend what are the worst crimes in the world. And no one seems to care. And no one seems to care. No one seems to really care. And that's the part that I just can't figure out. Hey, friend.
Hey, how are you, Steve?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I know it's hard. It's okay to say you're not okay because I'm certainly not okay. I'm not. This is not okay what we're experiencing. I just wanted to say though, just something to give maybe a little bit of hope.
I'll take
I've
it.
heard the knitting cult ladies say this a lot, and it's something that I'm aware of too. The American people are not easily ruled over.
No.
We don't. I know kind of right now we see a lot of MAGA just like rolling over and taking it and being like, yeah, that's my daddy, Trump, go daddy Trump, or whatever they say. But the average person, we don't want to be ruled we don't like to be inconvenienced. So I think when things start to kind of hit the fan more, you are going to see more people getting out into fighting and, you know, like standing up against this. And we are seeing more people standing up against it. And I know it's really hard to kind of look at that with when we have things like TikTok and we have all these idiots that comment things and go up and they want to argue. But there's still, even that with that ledger, sorry, I'm a little nervous for some reason. I've been up here so many times.
I know. It's all good.
But you know, with that ledger report, and that's like what it amounts to is about 35 million Americans that will stand up for Trump no matter what. Yeah. That's still, there are so many more of us than there are of that 35 million. So there are more of us than there are of them. And I know it's scary and it's okay to not be okay because I'm certainly not okay. But there are more of us than there are of them. Just try to remember that. And like the one guy mentioned before, you know, about going out and protesting to music festivals. We love TikTok shop. I don't know if that's a bad word now. Meet people.
Yeah, I know you're right. Exactly. Yeah.
Meet people. Like he said, go out and meet people, build your communities. That's what I've been trying to do. I've been talking to my neighbors. I'm just trying to get the messages out with people. You know, it's hard because I do talk about it a little bit at work, but I try not to get too involved with it because I work there and I have to, you know, make a living. But it's just even as simple as us talking about what Project 2025 is and me like kind of explaining to somebody what Project 2025 is because they'd never even heard of it. So just talk to people, get out, build your communities, find your people. I'm so glad to have you, Facts, every morning to listen to, because you, in some ways, give me a lot of hope. And I just find your people, everybody. I know it's really scary. I'm really scared too. Whatever happens will be there are more than I just have to say this. There are more of us than there are of them. And I know that listening to these people makes me want to just scream and yell at the top of my lungs. But at the end of the day, there are more of us than there are of them.
I try to say that a lot, Heather. You're absolutely right about that. And right now, I think this is the kind of the bounce for me, because I'm so disgusted by giving protection and safety and acknowledgement to a fucking predator. And I'm so troubled and disturbed by that. Everything else around that is fuel. I'm angry. You're absolutely right. I am angry. And I think this is a moment in history, right? We're all here for reasons. If you believe that shit, I kind of do. This is a moment that the right has been telling the left for years that we're weak, that we're cowards, that we won't stand up for shit, that we're soft. I guess we'll find out.
Right.
I guess we're about to find out, right?
We're going to find out. And just for whatever it's worth, the right isn't the only ones who likes 2A. Just saying. They're not.
I just behind me, right over there, as a matter of fact.
Exactly. I mean, My husband is as left as they can be, except for when it comes to that 2A. Even we don't agree on it. So I'm just saying, just build your communities, find your spaces. It is scary, but just remember, we are on the right side of history. We are the ones who are talking about it. We are the ones, remember when we were all in school listening to World War II and wondering how the Schnazis could do it? Well, this is how they could do it. But remember, If you're standing up, you're the right side. History will look at us with kindness. History will not look at them with kindness. Like when you said that, Trump said that the left cares more about children than immigrants coming into this country. You're damn right. I care more about children than I do about immigrants. I love immigrants, by the way. I love them. They do nothing. I mean, I just don't understand why we have a problem with it. You couldn't pay me to care, but I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm rambling now. No,
you're not. I feel your passion. You're allowed. It's okay. You're inspiration. You're inspiration for lots of us, Heather. We kind of need it.
I appreciate you saying that. I know I don't always, hit the mark. Sometimes I speak before I don't shut up and listen sometimes. And I tend to be a little get off the rails. So I appreciate you listening to me, and just, there are, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to go before I just keep rambling. I appreciate you, Steve. And what about Biden?
Heather. What about Biden, Heather? What about Biden? Thank you, friend. Appreciate you. Yeah. It's right. And I know, and I take this seriously, and I know a lot of people who join us every day kind of look to what we do here as, you appreciate the journalism and the news and how we report on it, and the fact that we try to keep it straight and try to be objective, and, we don't bother with, these just ridiculous debates anymore, because what's the point? But, we're all human too, and this affects me. And I know that people kind of look to us for inspiration. And I'm struggling with that at the moment right now, because I'm not feeling defeated. I'm not feeling defeated. I'm feeling motivated. But my concern is so many people will just continue to be fucking apathetic. And that we can't, and that's what the right is going to count on. They're going to count on the American citizenry not standing up. They're going to count on, MAGA loyalists and every person who voted for Trump to be on his side. They're counting on the United States military to follow orders, no matter what. They're counting on that. That is their game. We have to start talking about it. Not here to fearmonger, but let's talk about what's real here, right? We've got Pete Hegseth talking about authorizing the use of firearms in D.C. under the direction of the DOD, orders issued by the president, right? So that's what they're counting on. They're counting on people to just walk away. There have been moments throughout world history where the citizenry, the authoritarians in charge, the leaders in charge, never expected their citizens to react. So here we are again. right? Here we are again. We've got the historical comparisons. We've got all the information as to what happens when autocrats take over and authoritarians take over and fascists take over. We know who they go for. You know, I guess if there's any saving grace in any of this, in any of it, we've all been right from the very beginning. All of us. Everybody that voted for Kamala Harris, moderates and independents, progressives, communists, everybody that participated in our democracy understood the 70 plus million people who exercised their vote at the ballot box or through mail-in voting, which is extremely secure, by the way. All of us, we said, we see this existential threat. We see it. We see it. Maybe people will say, for whatever reason, they didn't consider Kamala Harris the perfect candidate. Well, I'm sick and fucking tired of people looking for perfection. Stop looking for fucking perfection. Get off your fucking ass. Stop being apathetic. Stop being lazy. Stop blaming everybody else for your fucking problems. Stand the fuck up. Stand the fuck up. Don't count on status quo Democrats. Don't count on moderates. I use the Democratic Party as a vessel to get me to where I want to go, but we need people. Stop looking for perfection. What is it that you stand for? What is it that you want? What is it that you care about? And remember that, right? Remember that. Remember that, right? I will confidently say that there's never been a person more qualified to run for the White House than Kamala D. Harris. Not even close. And because of apathetic leftists and moderates who were looking for perfection and this and that, people didn't show up and vote. Now, we can talk about Rockland County, and there's a lot of information that's out there. We don't have time for that, quite frankly. We just don't. Because what does it matter at this point? There's no justice system that we can go to. We can't go to Congress. It's literally on us. It's literally on us. Can you imagine a 3.5 million person protest for No Kings looks like? If that gets amplified by 10, 35 million people across the country protesting, 45 million people across the country protesting. Are you a traitor too, Tingle? I guess so. Did you type all cash for some attention? Didn't get hugs as a kid? That explains a lot. Seriously. And those pathetic individuals don't get it. And that's why that conversation I was mentioning to you guys earlier about how the host, the moderator of the show was trying to find common ground. And again, I get that, but I can't break bread with a Nazi. Sorry, but no. I can't. But the way in which the exercise was interesting. They were literally asked to change seats. They were literally asked, like, what did you hear? And then portray the person, your opposition's arguments. And it was interesting to watch. It was really interesting to watch. Because even the Proud Boys is like, yeah, I can see where, basically speaking for the progressive leftists saying, yeah, Donald Trump's an authoritarian. And he went through the list. And I was like, yeah, they fucking get it. So there needs to be a massive uprising of the citizenry. And, whether it's anarchy or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't know. But it's unacceptable, and none of us have to tolerate it. None of us. None of us. It's not their country, it's ours. Jason, are you there? I guess not. I don't know how many there was up there, but we're like 40,000 likes away from 500K. Maybe we can get there. Let me just check over here real quick. Hang on. ZB. Yes, ZB. Yes, it is, but not like it was. Thank you for your kind contribution. I appreciate you very, very much. That's very sweet. I don't know what the math is on that, but I think it's that. Yes. Thank you for your kindness. I appreciate you. Listen, I think we'll end there. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back here tomorrow. And I got to process some shit through because I think we really need to be focusing on individuals who are out there who are organizing. We're going to identify causes. We're going to identify programs. We're going to identify communities. we're going to really be talking about what the resistance looks like. And again, I close the show with doing something, like do something every single day. We've got examples of people doing something. Like, there's a person in our community who had a horrible experience at a state fair. And we said, do you think writing a letter will work? And we're like, we don't think it's going to do anything, but you should do it anyway. Like, do something. And we're going to talk about more of that. So I want to thank you guys very, very much for participating today. Again, for those of you that are survivors of SA, I'm sorry that we had to maybe re-traumatize you, but it's really, really important that we cover this story because they don't want to talk about it, so we will. I appreciate you all very, very much. You guys are the smartest chat on TikTok. Mods, the best mods in the biz. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. Who are we going to raid? Does anybody know anybody? Is Danny still alive? Is Danny out there still alive that we could potentially send some traffic her way? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Emma is. Go raid Emma. Tell her we said hello. Oh, Danny is live? Yeah, let's go rate Danny, guys, because if Danny's taking people through victim statements, I think that'd be absolutely necessary. So go visit Danny, D-A-N-I. Please tell her we said hello. I love you, friends.